Woo! Woo! And that's one of our new lead-up songs. That's by Johnny Johns and Nick England. You didn't hear the first part of it, so I'm going to let you hear the first part of it here. Now I'm going to put it on pause. But that was from Next Halen and Johnny Johns. We'll have to integrate that into our program. I just wanted to give y'all a taste of it real quick, see what y'all think about maybe that being our new theme song for our show here on the Outlaw of College Football, sometimes known as the Outlaw of the Common Folk. I can't make my mind up about the name of my mind as far as the name of the show's about as reliable as I guess a woman picking out clothes. I don't know. But we already got a few people in the house today. Fred Bagley was the first one up, so he is first batter up. I always like to give a shout out to the first person in here. We also got Kevron Harris, our resident Clemson Tigers, up in here. Today we're going to talk a little Oklahoma Sooners and Alabama Crimson Tide news that I saw today that I thought you guys might like to talk about. I'm going to bring Johnny Johns in here in just a second from Next Halen and get his thoughts on some of this Oklahoma stuff that I found today, as well as some Alabama stuff, as I said earlier. Let's go ahead and pull some stuff up real quick for y'all. Go ahead and get this thing on the road. Johnny John's a little short today on time. See if y'all can see that first. All right, this is an article from TDA. It's Touchdown Alabama, Tide freshman quarterback. Says Alabama's offense will turn up next season. We got some thunderstorms here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama tonight as well, as you might have just heard it. So if I get cut short tonight, it ain't because I just dipped out. It's because we got some bad weather coming in here. It says Alabama football's freshman quarterback Keelan Russell is happy to have Ryan Grubb back in Tuscaloosa as the Crimson Tide's offensive coordinator. Grubb is officially back in Tuscaloosa after a short stint with the Tide upon Kalen DeBoer's hiring as he went to the Seahawks, and now he's back a year later. What he did with Michael Penix is legendary, Russell said. I'm excited. This offense finna turn up. We're finna be great. Did they really have to type word for word how he said something? It's almost like they're making fun of how Keelan Russell talks, like they're making fun of the man's Ebonics or something. The Crimson Tide have a quarterback competition in front of them as Russell looks to have an opportunity to make some noise in year one. The five-star is an early enrollee with Alabama. At the moment, he's participating in Alabama's off-season program. So, looks like Keelan Russell is pretty amped up about this addition of Ryan Grubb to the University of Alabama. As some people would like to say, they got the band back together as far as Alabama goes. As you know, Ryan Grubb was the offensive coordinator for Kalen DeBoer at numerous stops. I think he even goes all the way back to Sioux Falls with Kalen DeBoer. The only question I have about it is the fact that came down here for about 2 or 3 months. His wife didn't supposedly like it down here in Tuscaloosa and went to Seattle, and he got fired. So I'm just wondering if they're taking this job just because that's all they got, and within a year or two, Ryan Grubb won't be here again. I have a feeling that might be the case. I also have a feeling, for all you Alabama fans out there, that Kalen DeBoer eventually could have his eye on the NFL. It would not surprise me if Kalen DeBoer eventually ended up being an NFL football coach, if he is able to succeed here at Alabama, following a legend. It would probably bode him well. I could see him being sort of like a Pete Carroll type with the Seattle Seahawks. Y'all give me your thoughts on that. Kevron Harris said he loves the new song by Next Halen. I sort of overplayed it a little bit. Like I said, I'm not the most technologically sound guy up in here. So there was another article I was going to bring up for y'all as well for the Alabama fans out here. And then I'm going to get to the Oklahoma stuff is because this is the Crimson Nation. We like to do a little bit of Alabama and Oklahoma on here. It's a little bit of a unique setup. I love Crimson. So Crimson Nation's rule, right? So we're going to do a little bit of Alabama and Oklahoma tonight. And I'll get to the Oklahoma stuff in just a second. I want to get this Alabama stuff out of the way. see what y'all think about this article. Our AD, sometimes I'm not a fan of some of the stuff he says. Alabama AD Greg Burns suggests forfeits for field and court stormings. One way to stop fans from storming the field in court. I can't even speak tonight. One way to stop fans from storming the field or court in football and basketball, athletic director Greg Burns thinks taking away wins would stop it pretty quick. Well, yeah, it probably would, but I think that's a little bit of an overreach, in my opinion. Now, he's my athletic director, but like I said, sometimes Greg tends to say stuff that here lately make himself look stupid. Like when he was admonishing the Alabama fans for not giving more money to the program right before Christmas. As college football and basketball look to stop fans from storming the field after big wins, Alabama athletic director Greg Burns proposed a radical solution. You storm the field and you forfeit the game. I think from a safety standpoint, keeping people off the field and courts is a good thing for everybody, Burns said to ESPN. If we said that the home team, if they storm the field of the court, they're going to lose the game right then and there, that will stop. Conferences like the SEC have a policy in place to fine football and basketball programs, and it's not but a nickel and a dime situation when it comes to fining these programs. They're fining them, what, $100,000, $200,000? That's nothing. With these programs clearing hundreds of millions of dollars. So Greg may have the right idea, but it may be a bit of an overreach. What do y'all think about that? I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to bring in Johnny Johns, who's one of the authors of the new entrance song that I just played. I'm going to do one more article that's sort of inclined towards Alabama, but not really. But I'm going to bring him on in here anyway and get his thoughts on these things. How's it going, brother?
What's going on, man?
All right, as you can tell, I'm a little rushed tonight. I'm trying to get this shit done. Here's our prospective sponsor one day, Waffle House. Got me a cup of Waffle House coffee right here. But I'm going to bring something up real quick. What do you think about the and I'll get to the Oklahoma stuff in a minute, but what do you think about them supposedly maybe making them forfeit games? Do you think that's a bit of an overreach, or do you think we can find a middle ground and come up with a better penalty to keep them from charging the field, or are you okay with fans charging the field?
I understand that, like, I think it's a little bit of overkill. Like, I get it. He's just trying to come up with some, maybe it was just something he threw off the top of his head, but like, I would rather see something, because it only takes a few idiots to lose the game that you just won, and then you got to think about, I mean, they would have to make sure this is announced over the PA that, hey guys, do not storm the field. We're going to lose this game we just won. But I also get it, like, if you got Duke or Vanderbilt rushing the field, it's dangerous. But when you got Oklahoma or Tennessee, look at that's a lot more people rushing the field. You got 85 to 100,000 people rushing the field. That can get really bad. And I mean, what's real bad is when we have I could see a tragic accident, I think about the Travis Scott incident and the Rolling Stones. They had some people die, and like it turns into a stampede and people just get crushed. I mean, there was a fire that happened at the Great White concert, and that wasn't even thousands and thousands and thousands. That was just hundreds of people, and even that was enough where people could basically just get suffocated with people. And yeah, it's dangerous, dude. I don't think 80,000, and I know it ain't the full 80,000 or 100,000 or whatever, but still, even if it's 20, 30, 40,000, that a football field ain't meant to have that many people rushing it full speed at the same time. You don't have enough personnel. Like, I don't care how many you could have all the officers, all the firemen, you could have everybody out there. They're not going to be able to contain that kind of a crowd like that. So I understand it. Like, there is a safety problem with rushing the field, but people get excited and they love their team just like we do, like we love ours. So I get it, man. If I was at a game and everyone starts running towards the field, I'd probably be right there with them, and and I might be one of them yahoos that get suffocated over the damn deal.
Yeah, it is a spectacle, and it is fun to watch until something bad happens. Then it's not fun anymore.
Right.
You know, until it happens to you, it's okay, right? And if something bad happens to you, then all of a sudden it's not okay. But I agree with him. There needs to be some kind of more stricter penalty to discourage this, but I just don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But they could fine them more. I mean, it could be as simple as just fining them more. I don't know, because, you know, the fans, it's not coming out of their pocket. So even if you were to fine the school more, it's not going to discourage the fans. So I don't know how you could really discourage these people from doing what they're doing. Now, I know the soccer leagues put up these big fences where it's hard for them to get in there. So,
yeah, that way you wouldn't have as many, because there ain't going to be a whole lot of them that can scale a tall ass fence. I mean, you're in an elite group athletically if you can scale a fence that tall. You know,
they have them big fences at Talladega, right, to keep the debris from going in there on people. I've never been to a race, so I wouldn't know. So I was just asking, but I was thinking maybe they could do something like Talladega does. Maybe they could take a cue from them or something. NASCAR probably has some ideas to keep stuff from going up into the stands and people from coming out of the stands. I'm gonna move on to this other topic I wanted to touch on real quick. Thought this was interesting. See if y'all can see that. All right. What was Bear Bryant's Alabama salary compared to college football coaches today? Is the article basically is what it's talking about. I know you really can't compare the two because back then things were a lot cheaper and, you know, it was a lot different. So what they done here is it says here they used the U.S. Bureau Labor Statistics inflation calculator to give us an idea of what Bear Bryant made in comparison, even with today's inflation and whatnot, how he would compare, and other coaches as well. It says Paul Bear Bryant back in his day made $450 million. Or not $450 million, $450,000. With adjusted inflation, that's still only $1.48 million that Bear Bryant would be making today, right?
Man, that is wild.
And you read on down here, it says Newt Rockne reportedly was earning $75,000 a year in the 1930s, and adjusted for inflation would still only be $1.5 million, which still pales in comparison to what, you know, Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and even other coaches like Brent Venables make.
Right.
Brent Venables, Pat Dye said made $421,000, adjusted made $936,000. Let's scroll down here so we can find some more. Gene Stallings made $566,000 with adjusted. It was $1.14 million. You get down here into Steve Spurrier. He was the first $1 million coach. His top salary was $2.1 million. For adjusted rates, he would be $3.81 million. It still pales in comparison to what a lot of these coaches are making, right?
Right.
And if you move on down here a little ways more, we got, let me find a good one here. Mike Shula, he sucked. Nick Saban at the beginning made $3.75 million a year at Alabama. For adjusted inflation, that'd be $5.8 million. So the salaries, even with the adjusted inflation, the legendary coaches from the past still pale in comparison to what these coaches make. So I don't know. What is your take on that?
I feel like it's real similar to like NFL quarterbacks. Like if you like adjusted it to where you could equate it to, you know, what the dollar, like what does that dollar add up to now? Like adjusted to inflation. Like no, it surprises me. I'm actually surprised. What did you say it was? It was like a little less than $500,000 that Bear Bryant made. And
yeah, Bear Bryant back in his day in the 70s and 80s made $450,000 a year. But with adjusted inflation for today, that would equal $1.8 million, which still ain't a lot compared to what, like Kirby Smart's making $13 million.
Yeah, and
what it says to me, and I know this is going to be just preaching to the choir, it just says to me that these coaches overpaid. That's what it says to me.
Yeah. I think it definitely seems like they're overpaid, but I'm shocked that he was making even 450,000 in the 70s and 80s because I know like I think Bob Stoops was the first coach we had that got like 1 million or was over 1 million, and then I do remember we were talking about the Spurrier deal. He was one of the first coaches, period, to get over 1 million. And Barry Switzer, I think he made however many hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like maybe he had $250,000 a year, $500,000 a year. But it is crazy, and it's the same way with the NFL quarterbacks. Like even when you adjust it to today's dollar, these dudes are still making 4 times, 5 times, sometimes 10 times the amount of money that they were making back in the day. I don't know what it is other than maybe football is way more lucrative today than it was back then. Like there's more people watching it. There's more ways to make money off of it, like the TV deals, the T-shirts, the TV shows. Like there was a Super Bowl, dude, and we had an all-day broadcast that you could watch on this Super Bowl. So I don't know if it's just there's more and more and more people that are becoming fans of football, and there's more people willing to spend money. Like there's some fanatics, dude. They want every T-shirt, they want every jersey, they want every football card, they want every hat they can get. Like, oh, he wears these sunglasses, I want to wear them too. Like, and I mean, I ain't just talking about Coach Prime. I'm Pat Mahomes. Like, it's crazy. I think fanatics are just. I think it has to do with. Yeah, some of them are overpaid, but there's no way they would be able to pay you that money unless they were making that money as well. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They must be just making a hell of a lot more money. I think there's just more people spending money on it, I guess. I mean,
Lance Fleury, and when I was talking about Newt Rockman, he made $75,000 a year. He said $75,000 a year in 1930 was big bank in those days. Yeah,
right.
$75,000 a year back then, like it said, was like $1.8 million a year now.
Right, and I'm sure Larry Bryant, when he was making the $400 and something thousand a year in the '70s, I'm sure that was big money. I'm sure that was a big deal when he signed that contract. Like, I mean, so it was a big deal at the time. The guys that are a big deal get paid a big deal, and nowadays it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I think it's just more lucrative. The stadiums grow bigger and bigger every year. I mean, like. I remember even just 20 years ago, I used to kind of keep track for whatever reason. I keep a lot of useless information. I used to keep track over like the stadiums and the capacities. And I remember a lot of these schools that like Alabama, I think had 80 something thousand maybe back in the day. And now they're 100,000. A&M had, I want to say they had only like 60 or 70,000. And now they're 100,000. And it's like, there's a lot of schools that, and a lot of them are filling them up for the most part, especially on big games. But there's just a lot of money. The TV deals, there's a lot of money being made on it. But I would like to check out the same information with the NFL quarterbacks because, like, I don't think Troy Aikman or John Elway or Joe Montana, even if they adjusted the dollar, I bet they're making a quarter of what the guys today are making, even if you adjusted, for inflation. Like, they're making ridiculous.
Well, I think one thing they didn't take into account there with Bear Bryant and others is they had side hustles too that weren't really spoken of. Like Bear Bryant and his son both have their hands in the casinos in Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? They get their money somewhere else. They're making other money too that they're just not telling you about.
Right. Yeah, commercials and all that. I'm sure they're getting in on. What do they call it? You make this much money plus incentives, but I know, he was definitely a big deal, and I'm sure he would love to be coaching today where these dudes are getting paid even, like, I see why some people come out of retirement, like, I think about head coaches, I think about, like Barry Switzer. I think about him also, like, what he made even just in the 90s as an NFL coach. You could fast forward like 10, 15 years after that, and he was probably thinking, holy shit, like, how come I wish they were paying that kind of money when I was coaching, just literally, say last coach was last team was like mid 90s. Even 2010s, I mean, they were making really good money. So, yeah, it's crazy, man. I don't know if they're overpaid. I think it's a little bit of both. They're overpaid, and the game is just generating a lot of money. Because, man, one thing my grandpa always taught me is ain't nobody going to give you nothing for free. Unless they're your best friend or your family or your mom or dad or something, ain't nobody going to give you nothing for free. So if they're getting that kind of money, and it ain't, I could understand one, like you'll have an A&M situation where they overpay a guy, they sign this huge contract, shouldn't have done it. Or like a USC with Lincoln Riley deal, you sign this huge contract, over $10 million a year, bought him a mansion, and then you realize a few years into it, oh man, we overpaid for this guy. This guy ain't worth what we're paying for. There are a couple of those, but the thing of it is, if it was only just 2 or 3, it would be, well, they're overpaid. But there's you can look at like 20 different coaches that are making 5 times more and 10 times more than what was Bear Bryant was making, even with it adjusted. I mean,
Exactly.
7.
I actually got a new prospective sponsor. It's called Flow with D Yoga.
Mhm.
You want to check this out real quick?
Yeah.
See what you think about my possible sponsor. It's called Flow with D Yoga.
All right, straighten both legs, wide ankle forward fold. Gently bending one knee then the other. Just loosening up the hips here, inner thighs. Drop low on the right side, then low on the left. Super deep Cossack lunge, lifting the toes on the opposite side. Take a break and flow with me. Watch the full yoga session now.
So, what do you think about that as a prospective sponsor? She contacted me the other day, said she might want to sponsor the show, since just to show that I'm all about Title IX. I'm all about females, getting their recognition.
I would have said sold, done deal. Especially, I mean, if you could play like a 20-minute clip at the beginning of the video, every YouTube video you put out, and it'd be incredible, like how much the views go up, because as soon as someone just sees that, and as long as you put that as your thumbnail, I mean, you're at least getting clicks. Like you're going to get ridiculous amounts of clicks. That's hilarious.
Larry Trowicki is in the house. He's our resident Nebraska guy. I'm about to do some more Nebraska stuff. I'm about to include some Nebraska people in here. They're good people too. Hey, Corn is in here. What do you guys think about the year? What do you think about year 3 with Matt Rule and Raiola?
Man, I'm a huge Matt Rule fan. Like I have a buddy I work with that's a Nebraska fan, and I was telling him that I mean, I know they had the true freshman quarterback, but I was telling him I didn't know they were going to play him right away. I thought maybe he'd play year 2 or something, or maybe middle of year 2. And I get it, he's highly recruited. He probably wanted to play right away too. But I had told him that Matt Rule's second and third years, when you usually see that big jump in a team, that big improvement. And I remember my Sooners played against Matt Rule, and I know him very well. I got a lot of respect for him, dude. He gave us more. He gave us a handful every time we played him. He's really good at recruiting the athletes with the measurables and coaching them up, and he's a great recruiter. I've always felt like Nebraska's biggest problem when they left the conference was you're not playing Texas schools. You had a bunch of players that you used to recruit from Texas. And bringing in Matt Rule might help you open that back up, because he's pretty well respected in the Texas, like in that whole area, Dallas, Fort Worth area, and Waco, and everywhere in Texas, really. But the whole deal, and you asked about the quarterback as well. I think the kid's got a bunch of talent, dude. He's really, really good, but he was a true freshman, and at times he looked great, and at other times he looked like a true freshman. But if I was a Nebraska fan, I'd be super excited about the future. I mean, you got to wonder what this guy looks like year two. And not to mention just a third year of Matt Rule. I mean, this guy, he's coached. I know he didn't work out in the NFL, but dude, he's a great coach. I would love it if he was at Oklahoma. I'd be happy if he was at OU. I really like Matt Rule a lot, man, as a person and as a coach. Like, plus he reminds me a lot of my high school head coach.
You know, sometimes you get coaches like Matt Rule, and they're really a big success at these smaller programs or these programs that aren't considered powerhouses, and they get that they did one good job, and they're like a one-hit wonder when they get to the big leagues. That's not him. He went to Temple and Baylor,
Right.
and won at both places, so he's proven himself. Nebraska is not the Nebraska of the old, but you know, there's a lot of things working against Nebraska in the modern day student athlete. Man, I mean, it's not a real good location geographically speaking. I think that hurts them too.
Yeah, and when the NIL first come about, I remember I thought right away, two schools I thought a lot about, like A&M was one of them. I know they got a lot of oil money there, and Nebraska, because I was like, oh, dude, you make it where it's legal to pay players. I remember thinking, like, dude, Nebraska and A&M, like Nebraska used to be an economic freight train, and I think they still are. I mean, they fill up the stadium every damn game, and it doesn't matter if they're, you know, they got 5 losses on their record. They're filling up that stadium. So I know they're still generating a lot of money at that program, and I really thought they would be dominant. And I mean, they did go out and get that dude was what, number 1 quarterback, number 1 player that they got. I mean, so they're getting some guys that they, you know, probably wouldn't have got before the NIL. But they're a great program, and they're not going to be down forever. They're eventually going to be a team. I expect to see them in the playoffs while Matt Rule's there. Like he's going to get them to the playoffs before he leaves. And since he already tried it out in the NFL, hopefully you don't have to worry about him kicking ass and then trying out in the NFL again. Hopefully he'll be like Nick Saban, where he's like, dude, I did it. Now I'm in college. He stayed at Alabama for a really long time. So hopefully he'll have success and he'll stay there a while. But I would be excited. I mean, what do you think, Outlaw? You think that it's still a wait and see, or do you think you still got high hopes for Matt Rule?
I mean, I'd like to see Nebraska come back. It's just I don't know, man. And man, like I said, there's a lot of things working against them now. And I think also they joined the wrong conference. I think they should join the SEC. The Big Ten, to me, doesn't culturally fit for Nebraska. They used to recruit Texas pretty heavily, right? They used to be where they got most of their kids from, and a lot of families don't want to travel to Maryland or Rutgers to watch a football game. So I don't know, man. I want them to do well. I want them to be back. Matt Rule was a big time hire when they got him. I thought that would, that was them stepping up their game a little bit. So they're at least trying to step up their game. They're not just half-ass hiring people and bringing people in. They're trying to step up their game. I would really like to see Nebraska get back on top to the point where they were at least in the conversation for the playoffs in November.
Right. Yeah, me too. Definitely one of the brands I'd like to see.
If it's at the expense of Alabama or Oklahoma or something like that, no, I don't hope they come back.
Right.
They can stay down, man. If it's going to keep us from going playoffs, screw that.
Yeah. I don't want to see one of our teams get left out, for Nebraska. I don't love them that much, but I do like them. No, I like them, and I'd like to see them in the mix again, man. I mean, I miss the days when they were good, and I feel that way. There's a lot of brands in college football. I feel that way. I love watching college football, and I love the big brands. And if you don't have other big brands, winning your big games don't mean as much. Like winning championships and national championships and conference championships, they mean so much because there are other big brands that you had to beat to get that championship. So it does matter. It does mean something to me. But yeah, I don't want them making the playoff over my team. But
Logan Lee says he has some big news. The University of Texas just announced they will play in high heels, and reports say Manning is much more mobile in 6-inch stilettos. Y'all don't like Arch Manning?
all right.
Red Bagley says workout porn. Gotta love it. Yeah, as I Am Sooner said, if y'all don't mind, hit the like button, jump out, smash the like button. We're sort of lagging tonight. We got about 20 people in here. Hit the like button, share it out with your friends. Hitting that like button only takes 2 or 3 seconds, and it pushes the algorithm for us. Steve Lees is finally back. I don't know where he's been at. He's been in hibernation somewhere, probably in a movie theater with Pee Wee Herman stroking it. But he says that the Outlaws Pervert Hour. You don't like a little yoga, man?
I know. We were literally just trying to educate people on the yoga.
I was trying to show you that I'm fair across the board, man. And, females want to advertise on my channel, and they want to advertise their yoga workouts because it's a great workout out here. It's very good for you. So, hey, keep the heart rate going.
Yeah, all I got to say to Steve Leaves, like, we were just promoting yoga, and if your head went there, then that's on you, man, because we were strictly.
Yeah, man, what's wrong with you, Steve? I was just trying to figure out how I was going to bend like that later.
Me too.
Without breaking my damn spine in about 5 different places.
I was just trying to get myself in
when
shape.
I go to watch volleyball and gymnastics, I go for the athletic competition, man.
Yeah.
I don't go to look at women like that. What's wrong with you, Steve? Damn, man. Pervert.
Hey, Steve,
like Steve's pervert.
On the last video, he did have some good comments. Instead of just coming in, like, trying to come at us, and like he's always trying to fight us all the time on here. And that last video I was on, he actually had some good comments. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. You're coming in here not trying to fight us right away, man.
I saw this video today from Locked On Sooners. I was going to get your comments on this real quick. I don't know how much longer you got. So I can bring this up real quick. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can't read. I can't see, like, it's all blur. I can see it looks like, is that John Mateer?
Yeah.
I can't see what it says,
this was from The Athletic. The Athletic said, yes, the Sooners signed Washington State quarterback John Mateer, the number 2 player in the portal, but there are too many losses to ignore. Oklahoma lost 26 players to the portal, with 19 signing with Power 4 programs. 3 were in the top 100. Quarterback Jackson Arnold, wide receiver Nick Anderson, and linebacker Deshaun McCullough went to Nebraska. Mateer is the only top 100 addition to offset all those losses. So what they're basically saying, the Athletic, is that Oklahoma may have got a good quarterback, but they're slipping as far as the portals go.
Right. So they're saying we lost 3 top 100 players, but we only received 1, which he was the top 2 player. So Nick Anderson, I love Nick Anderson. A lot of OU fans do. His brother played here, Rodney Anderson. And I don't want to bag on the guy, but the fact of the matter is he was here 3 years, I think, 3 or 4, 3 years, I believe. And he was healthy for a total of 1 full season. Okay, Deshaun McCullough, I wish he would have stayed. I wish both of them would have stayed. But Deshaun McCullough, same deal, man. He was here, I think, 2 years. He may have played half of a season, while he was here. And then Jackson Arnold, I don't need to tell you about that. I mean, if you think that's a big loss, I would trade Jackson Arnold 10 times over again and over again for John Mateer. And I've watched you can watch 2 highlight games of John Mateer, and you will see more high-level football throws, more high-level throws than you've seen all year long with any of the quarterbacks we had. And that's even including Michael Hawkins. I know he was a true freshman. He's got room to grow. Still got hope for him, I guess. But there's more high-level throws I've seen. And trading John Mateer and the other 2 guys, they were injured. I mean, but I get it. We got a lot of guys from Kennesaw State and a lot of small schools and stuff. So, but as long as they're just healthy and on the field, they'll give you more production than what you got out of them other two guys. Even though they're talented, they're just availability is your best ability, and them guys wasn't available very often at all. So
Let's see what Jay Smith had to say about that comment from Unfair Sports. I'm sure you've heard of him.
They're not wrong for that assessment. We've talked about that here at Nauseam on this channel as well as at mine over at Unfair Sports, that Oklahoma has a lot of proving to do to acquire a lot of the naysayers. That's what they're going to do. They're going to have to show everyone that they can improve and get better with the players that they added to the roster. Now, granted, the one thing that Oklahoma was very strong in last season that we saw is defense. And a lot of that defense is there. You lose a Danny Stutzman and a Billy Bowman, as well as Woody Washington, and you know, feel like you may have lost some components, but you retained a lot of top talent in R. Mason Thomas, who had his 9 sacks, Dominic Williams in the defensive tackle spot, your linebackers, Kip and Kobe, they're still there. And you added some players like a Kendall Daniels on the defensive side. So you start to see that they added pieces to make sure the defense is shored up. So you're probably saying, but Jay, that's not what they're talking about in this article. They're talking about the offensive side of the ball. Well, with an offense that wasn't really able to produce, dealing with a bunch of injuries, they still produced 6 wins. Ask yourself, go back and look at the games. We talked about this before, but go back and look at the games again. Just keep refreshing yourself. If the team had an offense that could produce something, how many wins more do you think? How many of those losses would have become wins? That's the exercise I always recommend people go do, because that was it. And there's a guarantee that the Oklahoma offense will be better than they were last year. Like, this team was bottom of the barrel, awful. So there's a guarantee.
So that's a little snippet of what he thought about it. I did take some more notes from the video because I don't want to play too much of it because they might try to, get me for copyright. But basically, he went on to say that, they do have Deion Burks coming back and Jaden Gibson supposedly coming back as well. So that'll help shore up those offensive problems. They might not have gotten players in the portal, but they re-recruited these players. And that's the main thing. That's what Ohio State did. They re-recruited a lot of their players instead of going out and trying to get new players that didn't know the system. He also said you had massive injuries at the offensive line and wide receiver positions, which made for a lot of pressure for the quarterback, which was really unfair for Jackson Arnold. He may actually do better at Auburn. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how good offensive line is at Auburn, but if you don't have an offensive line and all your wide receivers are either injured or they're just laying down, like you and Killer Breeze pointed out a few times that you thought maybe they were just playing possum, then it's not conducive for success no matter how good that defense is.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, and I even agree with the Jackson Arnold. You're saying he may do better at Auburn. I expect him to. I expect him to definitely do better. But yeah, I'm surprised he didn't bring up he probably did. I didn't watch that video, but I'm shocked that he didn't bring up if you're going to make an argument about Oklahoma only getting 1 top 100 player but losing 3. That was the first thing that popped out to me as I seen that, is like, what, 3? And those are the 3 guys you mentioned. 2 of them hurt. 1 of them is labeled as a 5-star bust. Even though he may be better, but the only one guy that actually played out of those 3 guys that were considered top 100 was the one guy that we're clearly getting a much better quarterback. I would say much better quarterback than what he was, and I do agree with him. Burks is coming back. It is great that we was able to re-recruit him. He was another one of them guys, though, man. He was hurt, and I don't know what his injury was. Maybe it was something really bad, but he looked really good in the spring game, and then after that, during the season, I mean, I feel like he still has something to prove. I mean, he did look pretty good in some games against weaker competition. But I want to see if he can smoke an SEC defense. Can you get 2 or 3 touchdowns against an SEC team? I mean, maybe. I feel like the jury is still out. I know he's talented, and I'm glad he's coming back. But yeah, we don't have a whole lot of hot commodities on that offense that are proven commodities. I mean, Deion Burks can prove that he can light it up in the spring game. He can light it up against who was it, Temple or Maine or whoever we played. I don't think he played against Maine, but he played against the other ones and did pretty decent against those. But when it comes to the SEC play, man, a lot of those wide receivers didn't really show up at all the entire conference part of the season. And I do agree with him that the offense is a guarantee to get better. There's no way you're going to be bottom of the barrel again. I hope not. I wouldn't bet on them being at the bottom of the barrel again. I would bet on them having quite a bit of an improvement. And the offensive line, I think, will be quite a bit better. It won't get any worse than what it was last year. A bunch of guys that hadn't played together, a bunch of guys with no experience, and there was several of them. There was always like at least a couple of them banged up every week. So it was just a musical game of musical chairs, a revolving door of different lineups all year long. It was like we never had the same lineup from one week to the next. So it was a mess, man. So yeah, I expect it to be better for sure.
So this next snippet is can the Oklahoma Sooners retain DeMarco Murray amid the Penn State rumors? I don't know if you've heard about that, but DeMarco Murray is supposedly being targeted by Penn State, who just took – people might dismiss it and say it's a lateral move, but Penn State just took Ohio State's offensive coordinator, which was a lateral move. So, I mean, I wouldn't completely dismiss it already. DeMarco Murray may see as an avenue to move up as an offensive coordinator a lot quicker by being at Penn State. I don't know. But here's a little snippet of what they had to say on Locked On Sooners on that topic as well.
DeMarco Murray getting some Penn State love. Jay, what do you make of this? It came out from On3 on Tuesday afternoon that DeMarco Murray was kind of a front runner for the running back coach's job at Penn State.
So, yeah, this is the second time that a Big Ten school has tried to get DeMarco Murray services. And supposedly, based upon the reports we've seen on social media, is that there has been conversations between the two. And On3 is saying that he is definitely a top candidate. Rivals, the OU Insider team, tweeted out late last night that he's staying based upon sources. John, I have no clue what the heck is going on with this one, but we all know that DeMarco Murray was kind of in the running for some, NFL jobs, in which that's actually the expectation from a lot of people. They thought he would take an NFL job. And right now, there's still one job out there in the NFL that I can totally see him taking. His boy Kellen Moore is now the head coach over there at the New Orleans Saints. There's a chance that he could try to snatch him up and bring him there if DeMarco is still kind of putting feelers and fishing for a potential NFL job. So I don't know what to think, but I kind of expected DeMarco to leave. But Penn State, I'm going to be honest, it doesn't make any sense for him in comparison to like the situation with Jim Knowles. We can talk about that in a minute.
So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with him. I could see him either going. I was thinking, hey, maybe the Cowboys would try to offer him because he played there for a little bit. But yeah, the New Orleans deal with Kellen Moore going there, and I forget about the connection he has with him, and he just got the head coaching job there. And maybe he's just. I know maybe he's sick of college and the recruiting and the NIL and just everything. It's like there's more to college than just coaching. There's all this other stuff college is getting tougher and tougher for coaches. I don't blame him, but I don't think the Penn State deal makes sense. And I know they got the defensive coordinator from Ohio State. Supposedly that had more to do with football also. It had to do with him wanting to live there. I guess it was his home, but which it was surprising. But maybe they could. I mean, at this point, man, we lost Zach Alley to West Virginia. I guess nothing would shock me anymore. But
well, the thing I disagree with him about is he said he just don't see it because it's a lateral move. I'm like, dude, you're not paying attention. Penn State just took Ohio State's offensive coordinator, and Ohio State's in a lot better position to keep someone than Oklahoma.
Absolutely, they definitely are. They just won the Natty. Recruiting like they're recruiting, and even when Georgia and Alabama were running away with football, Ohio State was the only program that was keeping up with them in recruiting, and as far as like blue chip players and stuff, or blue chip ratio or whatever. But yeah, if you win the Natty and you got one of the top recruiting classes all the time, and you can't hold on to your defensive coordinator, or they can snag the defensive coordinator for them. They can damn sure snag a running back coach from a 6-7 Oklahoma that doesn't even know if the head coach is going to be there midway through the season next year. If I had to bet money on it, I can't say for certain whether he's going to be there after the Texas game or not. Like, it's a 50-50 for me. But so, yeah, I don't blame him if he's wanting to leave. And I've also known there's been like some fans, even though they love DeMarco Murray as a player, I don't think that a lot of the fans are like begging DeMarco Murray to stay. It's not like
No, he's not.
it's not some huge loss. If he wants to leave, I'm happy with Ben Arbuckle. I'll be honest, dude. After what that offense did last year, I felt like none of them deserved to have their job. Like, none of them deserved any kind of job security. Like,
Well, he did go on to point out, he did actually say something negative. Usually he's a sunshine pumper, so it sort of surprised me. He did say something a little negative about DeMarco. He says, really and honestly, it wouldn't be that huge of a loss because if you look at it, DeMarco Murray hasn't put anybody in the NFL that's been a big success. Nobody's went on to the NFL under his coaching to be a big success. Not really. Maybe one player. I can't remember the name he said, but it was one player that's had pretty good success. But for the most part, he hasn't really put his stamp on anybody that's been a highly successful player in the NFL. So, I mean, like you said, it's not like it would be an enormous loss anyway.
Right. Yeah, nothing compared to what Kel Gundy was doing when he was coaching our running backs. But if out of any of them that come to the top of my head, Ramondre Stevenson might be a guy that he coached for a little while when he was the running back coach. Ramondre Stevenson may have been the only one. But,
I think that's who they mentioned was Ramondre. Yeah, that was who it was because he was saying DeMarco Murray has a big name. He was a great player in the NFL. But lots of times that just doesn't translate to being a great coach. I mean, you see that a lot. So,
and you know, one of the things they said about that one guy he mentioned, Ramondre Stevenson, I'm pretty sure he got drafted to the Patriots. And I want to say they come out and said that out of all the running backs that they have drafted, they said this dude was the least ready for the NFL that they had seen it. And I remember it being like a thing they were talking about on the Sports Animal. And they said, man, does that not look bad for Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley and DeMarco Murray is when Lincoln was still here. And I'm thinking, hell yeah, that looks bad, dude. When Bill Belichick and his staff comes out and says, like, dude, this guy was one of the least prepared for the NFL we've ever seen a running back. That definitely doesn't look good. So, and I know that was when he was like just getting into coaching our running backs. So maybe he's a little better now, but I've always felt like he got the job because he was DeMarco Murray and he was a former running back for Oklahoma. And that's why he got that job. Like I felt like he got handed something that maybe he didn't quite earn. And
looks like maybe I rubbed off on Steve Lees a little bit, even though he don't want to admit it. He said Arnold won't be better than Mateer in 2025, and Oklahoma will beat the Barn Monkeys and rule the state of Alabama again. Yeah, the Barn Monkeys is one of my coin phrases, so I can see now I've rubbed off on you a little bit. It's good to know that you're coming around and I'm teaching you the way, Steve.
Yeah. Man, you know something, I know it's not one of the topics you've brought up, dude, but with Alabama next year, who do you think I don't know why, dude. I like the Austin Mack guy, man. Who do you think is going to be all starting quarterback next year?
Well, I mean, Ty Simpson's been there the longest. I mean, he knows the system, so he'll probably get the first crack at it, I'm thinking. I mean, just to be Captain Obvious, I know, but Austin Mack is a pretty big old boy. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5", maybe 6'5".
Yeah, he's pretty good size.
Weighs about 230, so he's not overweight, but he's about the right frame, man. He's got that I don't know, the Steve McNair look maybe, or the Cam Newton body type deal. So, I mean, I hope he don't act like Cam Newton. I saw where our player Ryan Williams has gotten himself some kind of nail polish sponsor. Ryan Williams painting his fingernails like Mary Kayla Williams' fingernails. So I guess that's karma for me for making fun of USC. You know, I used to make fun of him for painting his fingernails. Now Alabama's got a player painting their fingernails.
I remember when he left and went to USC. I'm like, dude, I'm so glad. At least I ain't got to act like I'm cool with this dude painting his damn fingernails. but yeah, with the Austin Mack deal, I'll tell you this, dude. Like, when it's OU Alabama week, like, he's the one dude that I'm the most worried about. Like, I could see him coming out and having a day. Like, I just think that dude, especially if he develops the way Kalen DeBoer has developed his other quarterbacks, and I like the way he's one of the ones that was handpicked by Kalen DeBoer. So I mean, I feel like the dude's got to fit his system because it's a handpicked guy from him. You know, the Simpson and the Milroll, they were guys that were already at Alabama, and they were for a different system. But the Austin Mack guy is a guy he picked for a system, and he's been with him now for a full season, and he's got the measurables for sure. He's got the size. I've watched his highlight reel actually last year whenever it was first announced that he was going to Alabama. And I remember watching his highlight reel thinking, holy shit, dude. You know, after he sits down for a year and learns the system under Kalen DeBoer, this dude could be a stud. He could be a problem. So I know just as an Oklahoma fan, or even if you're just a team that has to play Alabama, he's the one that I'm the most worried about, really. I think he could end up being a handful if he develops the way some of the other quarterbacks developed under Kalen DeBoer.
They also got Keelan Russell coming in. He's a 5-star quarterback. They say he's better than Tua. So I guess we'll see.
I mean, I don't think they're going to have a quarterback problem. I forget about him. Yeah, the 5-star. I haven't watched much of his highlights. I mean, I'm going to guess he's got to be good. You ain't a 5-star for no reason. But if I had to bet, like the obvious deal is like what you said, maybe that 5-star sits down for, at least maybe even Tua didn't get his shot and shine until the very end of the season. Guys like Caleb Williams, he didn't get his shot till midway through the season. So I kind of feel like maybe he's a guy that, if anything, he'll come on at middle or towards the end. But I think it'll definitely be an Austin Mack and a Simpson deal. But I don't know why, dude. The Austin Mack guy, I feel like he's the move.
Yeah, nobody's really talking about Austin Mack. They're talking about Ty Simpson and Keelan Russell.
Right.
And Austin Mack's just sitting there right in the middle. And as far as his frame goes, he looks like a prototypical quarterback, like you said, that could give you all sorts of trouble, whether it be passing the ball deep or taking off and running. I mean, he could hurt you both ways.
Wasn't he pretty damn highly recruited his own self, too? I mean, wasn't he a top 7, top 5, top 8 type
I don't remember where he was at, but I do remember I think he was a 4-star.
Right. I could have sworn he was pretty highly recruited. I mean,
now the Oklahoman come out with an article that they done their way too early projections for the playoffs, and they are saying that John Mateer might be able to leave Oklahoma to a breakthrough year. This was their predictions for next year. They got Penn State number 1, Georgia number 2, Clemson number 3, Kansas State number 4, Ohio State number 5, Texas number 6, LSU number 7, Oregon number 8, Oklahoma number 9, then it's Brigham Young, Illinois, and Boise State. I don't know about that. I don't know about their top 12. It don't look too good now. Some of them look good, but the Illinois and the Kansas State shit, I don't know where they got them from. But maybe, I don't know. But they're saying basically, let me pull it back up real quick and get exactly what they said about it and why they predicted Oklahoma to do that. Go down here to it. Here it is. Right here. What's good? Says John Mateer, the difference between an ugly first season in the SEC and the college football playoff run in 2025. The transfer quarterback from Washington State was the number 1 player in the portal. Is a dynamic dual threat. The Sooners couldn't get first downs in 2024, but they will in bunches with Mateer and transfer wideout Isaiah Stegna. from Arkansas. High volume championship subdivision transfer receivers Keontae Lewis and Giovanni Gibson. The schedule is brutal. If we go by the model, it will be very difficult for a 3-loss non-Power 4 conference champion to reach the college football playoffs. The Sooners get Mississippi and LSU and Norman, but have road trips to Alabama, Tennessee, and South Carolina, and Texas, and Dallas. Oklahoma also plays Michigan and Norman. So, what do you think about that?
Man, I feel like I like John Mateer a lot. I know it's kind of a weird comparison, but I feel like he can squat like, I think, 600 pounds. He can run really well. He can complete short passes. He doesn't have, like, I wouldn't say he has elite arm talent, but he's like, he can get the job done. He doesn't suck. He's a pretty good passer, but he can run and he can pick up first downs. He's a baller, strong. And I know this is a crazy comparison, but some of the same concerns, and I'm not saying they're the exact same player, but some of the same concerns and some of the same things that I do like about him is very similar to when Jalen Hurts come to Oklahoma. I was like, dude, this guy is really strong, very good leader. He can run really well. He's played some football where I feel like he can read defenses pretty well. But I don't think his arm talent is as elite as, Bradford and Kyler and Baker. And I feel the exact same way about this guy here. I don't think his arm talent is elite, but I don't think he sucks either. I think he's pretty good. My biggest concern is what we mentioned earlier with some of the, is our wide receiver talent going to be good enough? And are those offensive linemen, are they going to be improved? Are they all of them going to be healthy? I'm more concerned with what's around him. But as far as him, he reminds me a lot of Jalen Hurts, like as far as the skill set. Just like Jalen Hurts, he's gotten a lot better at throwing the football. But it was always just kind of like not as bad as Tim Tebow, but just kind of like, man, he can do it. He's pretty good. You know what I mean? He's just not Joe Burrow. One of those passers that are elite. So I'm excited to see it. I feel like if we were in the Big 12, we would definitely make the playoffs. We'd run through a Big 12 schedule and win 10, 11 games, no problem. But when you're playing the same difficult SEC schedule that you played last year, plus Michigan, I mean, will they end up stubbing their toe on, even if they're a pretty good team, will they end up losing 4 games anyway just because the schedule's just that damn difficult? That's my biggest concern. It's a tough schedule. Too many teams that you can not show up for and get whooped on. So
I can tell you this: I think that this year, if it comes down to a 3-loss SEC team, someone like SMU who didn't get the job done in the ACC title game, then they punished the SEC for SMU not being able to get the job done. The blowback and the way SMU played against Penn State, I don't think that should have happened this year. I think that they'll probably put the 3-loss SEC school in over whomever is in the way. Now, Steve Lee's, I can go back and forth with you, man, but I can't respect just a bald-faced liar, man. I've called them the Bar Monkeys long before your little show ever came to be. I doubt that very seriously because I'm the one that invented that word. So, I mean, I very seriously doubt that that's a pretty unique nickname. Yeah, I doubt that very seriously. Just go ahead and admit it, man. Just go ahead and admit you got a little bit of a man crush on me, man. It's okay.
Yeah, the odds of you both coming up with that exact same nickname, man, the chances of that, man, God, that would be.
You just lost a lot of respect, man.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying it's completely impossible. I do have an uncle that was an Elvis impersonator. We called him Jelvis. Joe. And we were like, Joe Elvis. And then we just started calling him Jelvis. Well, there was a guy that was an Elvis impersonator I met. I want to say he was from either Memphis or Louisiana, or he was somewhere out that direction or whatever. Anyway, I played a festival, And this dude, his damn name was Jealous. And I said, dude, my uncle was an Elvis impersonator. He was a really good one in the 90s. He's got that. We call him Jealous. He said, I've had the same name for 25 years. I've got it patented. I said, well, don't worry, bud. He ain't no competition. He retired 25 years ago. But he was using that same name over 25 years ago.
They've been calling Auburn the Barners for a very long time. Like, that shit probably started back in the 1990s when people started having to go to Auburn and play more often. It's because they got a lot of barns in Lee County where they're from. And so they call them Barners. Well, just one day on Ryan Fowler shows, Tide 100.9 is a radio show I used to be on frequently. He had me on there, and I started calling them the Barn Monkeys, and it just sort of stuck. So I've been calling them the Barn Monkeys for quite some time. But like I said, it's pretty unique and something that nobody's really ever thought of. So I doubt very seriously you come up with that. You heard it on here, and you just don't want to own it.
Yeah. Or he was listening to the radio that day, and
maybe
he stole it from me back then.
It's an Alabama talk show, and I think Steve's an Oklahoma guy, so very doubtful.
He damn sure didn't hear that then, yeah. Steve's an Oklahoma guy. Well,
so don't you think, back to what we was talking about, don't you think because of how bad SMU looked in that game against Penn State, don't you think this year that if they're put in the same spot, that this time they'll go with the SEC school?
Yes, I do. Because there was you had three of them, man. Bama, South Carolina, Ole Miss, I think was the three of them. And all three of them were teams that, I don't think anybody would argue. I think SMU would have lost to any of those three teams. And really, if that happens again, so basically, you're getting at is if we happen to lose 3 games, we might still be in the hunt. Maybe, if you're an SEC team with that kind of schedule and you lose 3 games, you might get in. And so, yeah, I agree with you on that for sure. And I think that's what it's going to take. I think if Oklahoma gets in, I'm a huge OU fan. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they go 12-0 and I'm completely wrong. But I think if they got in the playoffs, it would be a 9-3 season. Maybe everything goes our way, and it would be 10-2, like Tennessee was 10-2. I don't want to compare us to them because they got their doors blown off, but I know. I think that's
beat Alabama again. If they beat Alabama again in Tuscaloosa, that'd probably go a long way to putting them right there. Now Steve's saying his brother came up with it. I thought you said you came up with it, man. Make your mind up. So you basically tell me you ripped your brother off? By the way, I'm not your brother. I know you would probably like me to be your brother, but I'm not. So, your brother, your transgender sister, whatever, they didn't come up with that name, man. I know you say your brother's your 7 years, your senior, and he used that term long ago when he was a drum major at the Pride of Oklahoma. Why would he talk about barn monkeys? Oklahoma wasn't even playing Auburn then.
right.
I mean, Oklahoma wasn't even thinking about Auburn back then.
Exactly.
Nobody was thinking about Auburn. Auburn just they're Johnny come lately.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense, dude, that your brother – I mean, I'm going to guess his brother's an Oklahoma guy also.
Yeah.
Unless y'all got different mamas or something. But
why would a drum major for the Oklahoma Sooners just randomly come up with a spastic name for Auburn? I don't understand how that would come about because Oklahoma was the Big 12 back then. I mean, it might have even been the Big 8.
right.
But when your brother was going, if he's 7 years your senior and you're 65 years old, your brother's be like 73 or something? You're drowning, man. You're in quicksand.
I think he's just bullshitting completely. He knows he didn't come up with that. I think he's doing what he always does. He comes in here. He's like the guy that calls Jim Traber, purposely gets him fired up, and I think he knows he didn't come up with that shit, man. It's not, I've never even heard nobody call them that.
What happened was he said it and he realized, damn, he's right. I got that from him.
All right.
And, now I've coined and said something that he coined, and now it looks like I'm his follower. Something like that. I don't know. It's okay, brother. A lot of people want to be like me and next Taylor, man. Can't everybody be the next Taylor and be the outlaw, man? It's okay.
Hey, and it's like, man, there's nothing wrong with just admitting, hey, dude, I do watch your show, and you know what? We know you watch the show because every time I'm on here, you are on here throwing down comments every time, and you're on here even like an hour into it every time. So,
well, there's people that I don't like that say stuff that I think, damn, that's pretty cool. I actually like that. I'm gonna use it, even though I don't really like them.
right.
Like Con Time Deion Sanders. He said some shit that was funny before.
Yeah. Yeah, every now and then he'll say something that I actually like.
That's right.
And, even Lincoln has said some stuff over the last 3 years. I'm like, God, I really like that. But still don't like him though. But yeah, that definitely happens. Like, man, it sucks when it happens. Because it's like, man, I really want to hate that son of a bitch. But
Yeah.
I actually like that was actually really cool what he said that one time.
That's right. Even the people you don't like sometimes say stuff that actually is pretty cool. So you can admit it, man. It's okay. We're not going to hold it against you.
Right. Hey, man, one thing we haven't talked about, dude, the Crimson Nations have got to be proud of Jalen Hurts, dude, winning that Super Bowl and everything that the guy, you know, the ups and the downs. And, I mean, he took Alabama to 2 national championships, right? Was he a true freshman or redshirt freshman? The first year.
The year he went to the national championship, as a true freshman, he lost to Clemson.
All right.
And then the next year we went to the national championship again,
Bench.
and he got benched, I think, and Tua came in, won the game for us or something like that.
So he was a guy, and I know I may have sounded like I was shitting on him the way I was a little when he came here, and I was a little worried about, man, that man can still not throw a deep ball to the left side.
I don't understand why the Oklahoma people and Alabama people are fighting with each other about who he belongs to. Because he played at Alabama, he got a degree here. He played at Oklahoma, and he got a degree there. He went to both schools and done very well. So why can't they just both claim it?
Right. And he did take Alabama to a national championship 2 years in a row, freshman and sophomore year. And I think anything that Oklahoma fans say is like, well, he was drafted here. And I've been seeing it all over YouTube and people saying, well, so as an OU fan, should I claim Caleb Williams and Troy Aikman? And it's like, well, Caleb Williams played half a season here. And Troy Aikman, he was here maybe first couple years or whatever and then left. But it's like, no, but we have always told people, hey, you know, Troy Aikman did play here, right? Like, I mean, we do like flex our muscles on that back when he was winning Super Bowls. I heard everybody in my family say it. You know, Troy Aikman did play here at OU, but he got drafted out of Oklahoma.
But he didn't really do anything at Oklahoma. You know, Jalen Hurts did accomplish some stuff here at Alabama. He won the SEC title for us when Tua got injured.
Yep, exactly. And, you know, something else, like I was talking about how proud I am, and I know Alabama fans, I've seen a bunch of them on social media talking about how they're proud of him too, because he was there, you know, and he was at both. And he took one school to 2 national titles in a row, lost the first one. The team still won the second one, and if you remember when they won that game, Jalen Hurts was one of the first guys running out on the field celebrating with Tua after they won that national championship. He was a team guy, always was, and even stayed another year and competed for the job and helped him win a conference championship against Georgia, redeemed himself against the team he lost his job against. And then
exactly. His third and final season, that was like a movie. He lost his job against Georgia. Come back that last season when he could have left and got to play against Georgia and beat Georgia for the SEC title.
Right, and did it throwing the ball and running the ball really well. He looked better. But you know, there was a moment at Oklahoma that I felt like I've seen this dude overcome a lot of stuff, and I've seen him have some. I remember the Natty game, and I've heard the story, him going to the hotel crying with his parents, and he was devastated. Like, I can't believe that happened to me. I lost my job. And, but I've also seen him overcome things like the Georgia game or the Alabama Georgia game and the SEC championship. And I've seen there was a moment where we were getting beat down by Baylor. I can't remember the exact score. If I had to guess, it was something close to like 31-7 or something like that. Like, we were getting beat on pretty good. Maybe it was 31-10 or something like that. And Jalen Hurts and the whole offense, we were not having a great first half. And we had a 5-star, top-rated quarterback, true freshman, licking his chops, waiting to go in the game. I'm sure there was a lot of fans screaming, well, Jalen, you're fixing to lose your job again. I bet this true freshman's going to come in here and throw a couple touchdown passes and take your job. And it was Spencer Rattler that was the true freshman 5-star that was licking his chops, wanting to go in. And I know you can't equate Oklahoma versus Baylor to, it ain't near the level of Alabama and Georgia in the national championship game, but still, it was a big game, dude. If we don't win that game, we don't make the playoffs. We maybe don't make the conference championship. Like, we needed that game. We had to have it. And we're getting beat. And I remember thinking, damn, this sucks, dude. This might happen to him again, dude. We're down like 31-10 or 31-7. We're getting beat at halftime.
I remember that game.
I mean, it was a tough deal, dude. I was like, I can't believe we're just going to get smoked by Baylor. And Baylor was pretty decent at the
That's
time.
when I didn't really like Oklahoma. I was mad as hell. Y'all come back and win that game. Shit. I was like, oh no.
And I remember thinking, like, dude, I thought, dude, kudos to Lincoln Riley. Maybe a lot of fans were saying, dude, get him out. Let's put the 5-star in. Screw it. We're getting blown out. Let's put the 5-star in. Let's see what he can do. But he left Jalen Hurts in. They went down there and they scored, and maybe they made it 31-14. Went down there, scored again, and all of a sudden, after like the 2 or 3 after the second score in the second half, I start thinking, dude, we may end up, maybe we can make this a game. Who knows? And we end up winning that game. And I remember after that game, I remember thinking, like, and Jalen Hurts, they even asked him, like, man, was that not an amazing moment? And he said, well, I've had quite a few crazy moments in my college career. And he said, but yeah, and I could tell that was a moment for him where it was like, dude, like, I could see the look in his eyes, like, holy shit, this is happening to me again. Like, I've worked so hard. Like, he was the kind of guy after the game. Like, he had a game where he completed like 90+% of his passes. And after that game, I think he completed like 19 of 21 or something like that. Had an amazing game. And he's in the damn Switzer Center working out afterwards, after the game, dude, working out. Everyone else is partying, celebrating. They damn sure not working out. And this dude is just, he's on another level, kind of like how Tom Brady was like obsessed. Like, every month, it don't matter if it's March, it doesn't matter what month out of the year it is, it's all about football. Like, everything I eat, everything I drink, everything I do, it's all about what can I do that other guys aren't doing to help me win football games. And like the screensaver deal that the guys had all year, he's obsessed on that level of like how Tom Brady was obsessed. And I'm not saying he's going to haul off and win 6 more championships, but I think he's a real deal, man. And he is just made of all the right stuff, dude. And I just can't be more proud of him. I'm really.
It was for Alabama. It was a 49-year drought since we had a quarterback in the Super Bowl, let alone win it. It's been like 49 years for us, but and we can only half claim him. So, we can't really fully claim Jalen because he ended up his last year at Oklahoma. But it's amazing how some of those games, like you were talking about, it used to happen all the time where, Oklahoma would get down like that and then come back and win. They'd give up a shitload of points, like 31 points, and then all of a sudden the other team's offense couldn't score anymore. The defense that sucked so bad started stopping them, and then y'all started scoring again. So I was like, why wasn't this defense here before? I mean, maybe it was the teams trying to, sort of like in basketball when they slow the game down to try to win the game. Maybe they were trying to slow down too much and allowed Oklahoma to catch up, that kind of deal.
Right. Yeah, I agree. That's what I think it was. Because defense couldn't stop a nosebleed, and all of a sudden they're making stops. And you'd see guys running draws on 3rd and 10, and it's like, dude, you shouldn't have done that. Because Lincoln Riley, he could score some points quick if he wasn't watching out. Kind of like Mike Leach. Like I always remember, even when we'd be up 3 touchdowns against him. I remember my dad. I'd say, "Well, this game's over," and my dad'd say, "Bullshit. He's like, this guy can score quick. Like you don't understand. This dude will score. He can score quick when his offense gets rolling."
I think I might have called old Steve Leeson another lie. He said he got my ass put. He says here, you got your ass put in Facebook jail because of me. I thought you said you didn't have a Facebook, man. Remember we was asking him to come on here and be on the show, or maybe hit me up on Facebook or something like that. And you said you didn't have a Facebook, man. So how'd you get me put in jail? I mean, if you don't have a Facebook.
Right.
See, you say shit and you don't think I remember, man. You're sort of like those liberal spastics out there. They go around saying shit about independents and Republicans, which is actually about them. And they forget that they done certain things, the same things they're trying to persecute you for. They actually done those same things, right?
That is funny though that you remembered him saying that before. He's like, "Damn it, I didn't know this guy had a memory that damn good."
Yeah, I mean, it's just, smack talk. You sort of remember things when people are smack talking and they say stuff. Because we've been trying to get Steve to come on here, and he just can't bring himself to do it. But we'll let you come on here anytime you want to come on, brother. You want to debate, just come on down. Like Bob Barker used to say back in the day. That's right.
I like Price is Right, man.
Monroe U Center says now he has a Facebook page. Very interesting, Steve. Damn. You just come in here, man. You just getting waterboarded, man. You need to chill out, man. You can get your blood pressure up, man. It's not good for you.
Yeah.
But unless, of course, it's the blood pressure from watching the yoga earlier. That's a good pressure out there. That's a good pressure point. Steve been mad ever since I put that yoga on, man. I think he wanted to see some he wanted to see some Michelle Obama or something, man. He wanted to see a dong hanging out or something.
It is crazy out of all things for him to bitch about, dude. Like, that's what you're going to bitch about, dude? That's like winning the lottery and then bitching about paying the taxes on it. Like, come on, man.
It was probably his brother's Facebook because, he's got an imaginary brother now. Is your brother named Greg? Because there was a Greg Lees that was coming here for a little while. We thought maybe it was your brother because, he had some of your mannerisms. Or was it your transgender sister? I mean, you tell me. I think he's mad because he likes transgender people. I make fun of him because it's a made-up word.
He's definitely not a huge fan of the show, though, for sure. Because dude, we're an hour and 18 minutes in, hour and 19 minutes in, and he's still here. So he's definitely a guy that must like the show. I guess he gets something out of it. Otherwise he wouldn't still be here.
I hope it's nothing perverted or nefarious. Just
All right. And it's like, but the yoga, that's where you drew the line, huh?
That's right.
Crazy.
Well, it's getting late, brother. You need to get up off of here. You said you got to get up and go to work early in the morning, right?
Yeah. Hopefully I finally get a weekend off, man. I've been working like 6 days a week, basically just working 6 days to enjoy one and pretty much just rest.
Tell them where they can find your band.
Next Halen, the best way to find us is on Facebook, but you can find us. We've got some videos on YouTube also, but we don't upload videos on like a regular basis. There, all the videos on there are just ones from like the ones we played the Whiskey A Go Go, I'm sure, on there, but it's very rare. I would say Facebook's the best, and we always put our shows up there on Facebook. And then you can also just Google Next Halen, and it pops up right away. Like just Google Van Halen tribute band from Oklahoma, that will pop it up, or Next Halen tribute band, or Van Halen tribute band. It'll pop up on Google right away.
Look, man, he's using another one of my catchphrases. He just called me Pudding. You got to call me Pudding.
He's doing that shit on purpose, man.
Look, man, now you're going to tell me that your great-grandfather come up with the word pudding for P-U-S-S-Y, right? In case y'all wonder why I use the word pudding, it sounds so similar to the P-U-S-S-Y word that's why I use it. Plus, it's soft, like you, Steve. So, I try not to say that word because it really pisses a lot of the female listeners off. So I say pudding instead of the other word.
But I'm sure he come up with that in the third grade. That was something he came up with. Like
he was watching one of them Jello commercials with Bill Cosby, man. With the pudding pop, where you stick it in your mouth and suck on it.
Right.
Remember them pudding pops?
Yeah, that
like
one, it lets you know he's definitely doing this on purpose. He is he's gonna say come up with the word spastic. That's gonna be the next thing, his next comment. I guarantee you.
That's right. I invented the word spastic. My great-great-grandfather was in the Special Olympics, and he was the first one to be called a spastic. We're just having fun with you, Steve, man.
Yeah.
I actually like for you to grill me, man. I like a little competition every once in a while.
I like Steve more than that Clemson guy that comes on in the deal. And I know everyone's like, man, look, can we just get this guy out of here? And I'm thinking, dude, can we please leave him in here till at least December?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Fred and him wanting to boot him. I'm like, nah, man, I want to keep him around so I can kick him.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, dude, don't y'all want a chew toy? I mean, come on. He's a good chew toy for everybody. And I just can't wait till December, January, because we all have the receipts. I mean, he made it very clear to everyone that Clemson's going to go 12-1 in the regular season. They're going to win the Natty. So basically, how many games you got to win now? Is it 15-1 if you was to lose one game? What is that? What it would be? Maybe 15-1 or 14-1? I think it'd be.
They said they were going to go 15-1, 16-1, something like that.
Depends on your conference if you get the bye week or not. But yeah, he's saying they're going to go one loss, and he thinks. And I mean,
you're talking about the Clemson guy, right?
Yeah, the Clemson guy. So it's like
Rich Huffman.
I cannot wait until December, January. And you know what? Hey, if that ends up happening and somehow they do, but they damn sure are not winning the Natty, man. Like that's like even if they somehow go 12-1 in that schedule, it's a possibility. But they go 9-3, or they lose they go 10-3 or whatever it was. They lose 3 games, and all of a sudden he thinks they're on this top level, like.
Yeah, and he always calls them little old Clemson. I'm like, you can't be little old Clemson if you won 3 national titles, man.
Right.
I mean, y'all more like a mid-card champion. You know what I'm saying? It's, you're not up there. You're not a blue blood. You're sort of in between, sort of like Texas.
It's like he's always, I don't know. It kind of does remind me. Texas fans were constantly like begging, you guys just keep moving the goalposts. You said we couldn't win in the SEC. We make it to the SEC championship. Now you're saying, oh, well, you played the bottom of the SEC. And he said, if we beat Oklahoma and we beat Georgia and we beat A&M, are you guys going to give us the credit then? And I remember thinking like, yeah, dude, if you beat Georgia and you win the SEC, of course people will give you the credit. And but of course they didn't. They lost to Georgia twice, and then they got beat in the playoffs and didn't even make it to the Final Four, or make it out. They made it to the Final Four, I think, but didn't make it into the Natty.
Right.
But they so they still haven't been able to make it to the Natty in the playoff era, just like Oklahoma.
The only reason they made it to even to the Final Four because they didn't have to play Georgia a third time.
Exactly.
And they can't say we would have beat Georgia, so they had their backup quarterback. They beat y'all with their backup quarterback.
Exactly. And that backup quarterback was pretty damn good. But yeah, they would have lost to Georgia, and I felt like they did even better against Ohio State than what I thought they were going to do. But anyway, the Clemson guy is the same deal. It's like he's begging for this, like he wants everyone to give Clemson the credit that we give Alabama, or even the credit we give Ohio State and Georgia. And none of us like either one of those teams, but we give those teams the credit that they've earned. And it's like he wants us to give Clemson some type of credit. And it's like, dude, y'all lost 3 games. You backdoored yourself into the playoff spot, a 12-team playoff, and you barely beat a damn SMU team to do it.
Yeah, there was a G5. It was a G5 school just last year.
Right, and you want us to all of a sudden
how weak. It shows you how weak the ACC is. They let a G5 school come in and just take the shit almost. People are like, well, Texas done the same thing the SEC. Yeah, but Texas was a Power 4 school. SMU was G5, man. They come in and almost took y'all shit.
Exactly. And I told him one of the times that I was arguing with the guy, I was like, dude, from 2015 to 2020, everybody was giving Clemson their credit. Like back when you guys were actually good, that flash in the pan that you guys had where you were really, really good. Like in 2015, I remember everybody, like even OU fans, like we would say things like, man, if we could land this defensive tackle here, like we'd be in a recruit with a guy, like it'd be a 5-star guy. And we'd say, dude, the only way we're going to get on that level where Clemson, Alabama, and Georgia is if we can land this 5-star guy here. That might help us get closer to that level. And it was constantly, the level of Clemson, Alabama, and Georgia. Like those 3 teams were really, really good 2015, 2020. But it's now 2025, man, and them guys have fallen off the last few years. And then they finally make a 12-team playoff in a conference where they beat a former group of 5 team, and all of a sudden now they think they're back. It's like, no, dude, if you go 12-1 next year and you make a playoff run and get close to winning the Natty, then you can talk about being back. But
all right, brother, you want me to let you get up out of here so you can?
Yeah, I better get. I got to wake up at like 3:45 in the morning. Or that's when my first alarm goes off. I usually don't crawl my ass, actually get out of bed. I hit the snooze button a time or two. But by like 4:50 or by 3:55, 4:05, I'm definitely out of bed by that time.
All right, brother. We'll check you later, and maybe we'll do this again sometime very soon.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on too, bro.
All right, brother. Later.
Thank you.
And that was Johnny Johns. I didn't call him Jimmy Johns. I didn't call him Jimmy Johns not one time. Ain't y'all proud of me? I know he's proud of me, probably. He probably got tired of me calling him a sandwich. But, yeah, that was Johnny Johns from the group Next Halen. He's one of the biggest Oklahoma supporters that I know, a true and loyal college football fan that comes on here, and he can talk about just about any college football team just like me. He likes all of college football, and he's a very loyal guy to his team, unlike Steve Lees, who changes his tune every time the wind blows, whether it's north, south, east, or west. Ain't that right, Stevie boy? You know you like the attention, man. That's what you come in here for, man. But, if y'all got anything else y'all want to talk about tonight before we get up out of here, y'all got some comments or questions for this upcoming season, or even if you want to talk about the basketball season that's going on right now. I hear Porter Moser for Oklahoma may be out unless he gets on a little bit of a win streak here at the end. Now, they are projecting Oklahoma to still be in the NCAA playoffs right now. But Oklahoma still has a lot of work to do as far as basketball goes. So y'all got any questions or comments y'all want me to address or read out before I get up out of here? Just drop it right now in the comment section. I'll hang out in here a little while along with y'all. Maybe look at some of these comments. Says Fred Bagley has his badge. He's deputized. By the way, if you want a badge and you want to get deputized like Fred Bagley and others in here, all you got to do is hit that join button over by the subscribe button. You'll get a badge. You'll get deputized, get a random 4 horseman shout out on the actual podcast, as well as possibly the comment of the day. Fred Bagley said, Steve, such gay thoughts. Now, Steve, I'm not going to tell you again, man. Quit stalking Fred. I know you're jealous of Fred for whatever reason, but you need to quit that, man. That's just not good, man. It's not a good look, man. You already come in here and got caught in 3 or 4 lies, man. First you try to act like you come up with the word barn monkey, knowing you got it from me. And then you start calling me pudding, which everybody knows I've been using that for a little bit. And then you try to tell us that you got me put in Facebook jail. And you told us just 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that you didn't have no Facebook. Because I told you to contact me on Facebook. John Christophic's in the house. He says the outlaw rules. Yeah, I love ruling this podcast world. It's just great, man. I'm the whole effing show. That's right. JPC. OCF. By the way, John Christophic is our resident Pittsburgh Panther. That's right. John, you want to be on here? You ever want to be on the show, John? Just come on. I've never had a Pittsburgh Panther on the show before. We love to have a Pittsburgh Panther on the show. Yeah, he's pretty sensitive, Killer Breeze. He's a very sensitive guy. And if he can't get over on you, he'll make up some lie. So, just like you said, his brother come up with the word barn monkey. He was a drum major or something for Oklahoma, and he decided to call Auburn the Barn Monkeys just randomly one day, knowing good and well that Oklahoma ain't thought about Auburn or played Auburn up until here recently. When your brother was going to school back in the 1960s or 70s or 80s maybe, Auburn wasn't even thought of by Oklahoma. You're pulling up my invite. Hell, I'm finna get off of here. I was hoping you'd come up in here towards the end there. That's why I was trying to get what's his name? Johnny Johns. I was trying to get Johnny Johns up off here so he could go to bed and go to work in the morning. And you never came up in here, so I was like, I guess Johnny Johns will have to stay on here a while longer, huh? Johnny John says, later, Fred, in the Outlaw Army, woo, with a fist bump and the glasses. Yes, I love it. By the way, I got some crimson colored glasses here. Whenever I decide I want to, be like Con Time Deion Sanders, try to be the crimson version of Con Time Deion Sanders. I got my Louis and my receipts. See, I like some of the stuff that Con Time says, even though he's a jackass. You want to come on in here, Killer Breeze? I'll wait around on you for a while, brother. Come on in here, bitch. What you doing, man? Come on. Don't let Steve scare you off. Steve's just mad because I've rubbed off on him. Now he's calling Auburn the Barn Monkeys, and then he tries to say that he came up with it, and then he even backed off of that, and I guess he decided to blame his brother or his transvestite sister. I don't know. Next thing you know, Steve's going to tell us like I said, his great-great-granddaddy come up with the word spastic at the 1936 Olympics with Adolf Hitler. Come on, bring it. Don't sing it, bring it. Steve, bring your ass up in here, man. Quit saying that bullshit about, I'm at work. I'm investigating something. I can't do that. I'm at the Piggly Wiggly, making sure that nobody steals a can of Alpo on aisle 3. Don't be scared, Steve. I ain't going to hurt you, man. I'll actually be nice to you. Even though you ain't been nice to me and you try to steal my catchphrases, you and your damn wannabe brother, the Oklahoma tuba blower, flute skin flute player, your brother, the skin flute player who didn't come up with shit, then you're trying to blame your brother, man. Damn. And why you want to drag your brother into this shit? Come on in here, Steve. Look, man, all you got to do is just look, man, hey, I know you got a Facebook, man, and caught you in a lie. Send me a message on Facebook, Jesse Paul Clark. Send me your email address, and I'll send you an invite, and you come on in here, and we can smooth this whole thing out for you. The only ones that want to be is you, Steve. You the one that ain't showing up. You the one that won't show your face, man. Look, man, just because you might be a little bit ugly, we're not going to make fun of you, man. Can't everybody be good looking like me and Killer Breeze and Johnny Johns and Fred Bagley and John Christophic and Mitch Lemons and Thunder OU Sooner? I know you're in the deep end out here, man. You that little bitty fish in the big ass ocean now. You used to be the big fish in a little fish bowl. Now you're in a big ass ocean with a bunch of killers, like Killer Breeze and me. Trying to get Killer's audio while we wait on Killer to get the gremlins out. Steve versus Killer in a debate. It never happened, man. Steve's scared, man. He's going to make up some damn lie, some atrocious lie, maybe even blame his brother again. Mitch Lemons says it's a Trump gambit. Ask for everything and then negotiate down. Steve called you a cocksucker, man. He wants you to suck his wiener. Look here, Fred Bagley said, get on, Killer. Yeah. Look at there. Fred Bagley says, Steve the bootlicker has a nice ring to it. I don't know about bootlicker. More like booty liquor. Booty hole liquor. In the booty hole, licking in the booty hole. He ain't kissed the ass on the left side or the right side. He likes to kiss the ass right in the middle. He likes to lick that butthole. Him and his transgender sister brother, whatever it is, one that supposedly invented Barn Monkey. Oh. Stealing my catchphrases, trying to talk like me, Steve. It's okay, man. It's okay to say that you actually do like me, man. I know you do. All right, if I had a fraction of intelligence, you'd scroll up and see what I said instead of what you... I can't see all these comments, man. You know how many comments I got coming in here? If you want me to read your comment out, click on that little money dollar sign at the bottom, Steve, because I can't see all of your comments, brother, sister, whatever you are. Pronoun bitch, whatever. Look, hit that little money dollar sign. Or you ain't gonna. I'm not gonna respond to you no more. Hit that little money dollar sign and then just send it. And at least donate something to the program, since I'm wasting my time in here with your lying ass talking about your brother come up with all these damn catchphrases. You act like your brother's The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin or something, man. Where you at, Killer Breeze? I ain't got all day, man. Shit. Well, I've been on here almost an hour and 38 minutes. You ain't working, man. You're telling another lie. That's the 5th lie tonight that I've caught Steve in. That's a handful of lies, Steve, already. We're going to start calling him handful of lies. We're going to start calling Steve the handful of lies Lees. Steve lies instead of Lees. Because you're not working, man. You're sitting here typing and sending shit into a podcast comment section, into a gallery. You're typing on the keyboard. You're not watching whatever you're doing. Whatever job you're doing, you're not doing a very good job of it. Which lets me know that your job ain't very important if you got enough time to sit in here and type back and forth to us, talking about your brother invented barn monkeys and the internet like he's damn Al Gore or some shit. Sound like you ain't got a very important job to me, man. What are you doing? watching paint dry in the old folks' home. You're a security guard at the local old folks' home. And on the side, maybe you help wipe ass and maybe stick a few enemas up a 98-year-old man's ass or something. Exactly, Fred. Funny, he's working every time he's on here. He's working on being an ass, or he's working getting it up to ass. He's probably on his phone at Shawshank Redemption prison, probably taking it in the ass, like from the sisters. You know, when the sisters got Andy Dufresne in that kitchen, you know, what's his name? Morgan Freeman was narrating. He said, "I'd like to say that Andy fought the good fight and the sisters left him alone, but they didn't." That's what he is. Steve Lees is the shower hour guard at the prison. He's in there guarding the shower, watching the inmates shower and all that good shit. Oh, shower hour Steve. That's your new nickname, man. Oh, shower hour Steve. He's the shower hour security guard at the local prison. Your brother did ballet in a squared circle. Really? Can't help you there, man. It is your problem. You ain't got no job, man. You lying. Ain't nobody got a job where they're able to just come in here and just type shit constantly. And if you do have a job that does that, it's not a very important job, whatever it is, man. I hate to be so damn blunt and so mean, but you started this shit, man, not me. You ain't dictating shit in your phone, man, because your phone's not going to say certain words. Your phone's not going to capitalize the A and the W in asswipe. You have to take the time. See, you are just like liberals, man. You don't realize that you say shit that catches you up in a lie, and then after you get caught up in a lie, you try to act like it never happened. You can't dictate into your phone by word, asswipe, with a capital A and a capital W in the middle. It's going to separate the two. Damn, Steve. Damn, dude, you are looking rather weak tonight, man. You losing it, man. You need to be coached up, man. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a class. Smackology 101 class. I'll start one up on Wednesday night for you. And like I said, look me up on Facebook under Jesse Paul Clark. That's spelled Jesse without an I. I know you got one. Stop lying. Or get on Twitter or X at OCF Productions. Hit me up in DMs. I know you got one. Stop lying. Or get on your brother's account. Since you say your brother invents everything and comes up with everything, or is that your transgender sister? Either one of them. Get them to communicate with me. Get your brother to be on here. What are you talking about, man?
Let's see. Whoa.
Look, what are you talking about, Steve? And Killer comes in here just in time because Killer was here that night. He says, hell, you lost your shit when I told you my fiance was deceased on the couch. How'd I lose my shit?
Yeah, I don't remember you losing your shit at all.
I think maybe
I
Killer
remember
Breeze was like being nice to you after that.
I thought I was too, but but apparently not nice enough for Mr. Old Steve or the narc over here.
Look, man, I mean, why would you bring up your deceased fiance in this conversation? That has nothing to do with that. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, man. You grasp for shit and try to gaslight and pull shit out of your ass because you're getting your ass waterboarded and getting your ass just basically exposed tonight. You done it to yourself, man.
This is what happens when you don't play nice with others, Steve. We've all tried to be a friend, Steve.
I think he's got a Manti Te'o dead on his couch. That's what I think. And you want to be, we're going to be blunt, we're going to be cruel tonight. Hey, you know, a damn mannequin don't count as a dead, deceased fiance, man. Sorry.
The timing the timing was strange. The timing was strange. Let's be honest. The timing was strange of when that decided to be disclosed to us.
Now look, man, we've been talking shit in here the whole time, and all of a sudden his deceased fiance comes out of the books. For what reason? Why would you bring up a dead person? And that's pretty low even for you, Steve.
I just think Steve needs to join us, and we can just settle this all once and for all face to face, sort of.
Where you live,
You know what I'm
Steve?
saying?
Where you live at, man? I live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. If you ever want to come down here and hang out, we'll go and we'll drink a beer, and you can either hulk up and whoop my ass, or you can just buy me a beer and tell me how funny I am, because I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be the latter, which is okay, because I am a pretty funny guy sometimes. I pat myself on the back.
Why aren't we all just getting along anyway, Steve? The hostility, what's it all about? What's the hostility all about?
He's mad because he wants to be us.
I know, that they say we often project onto others what we hate about ourselves. He's calling me a wannabe. Does that mean that Steve is actually the wannabe? Is that what that means in Freudian terms? Yeah,
Man,
he was.
I said I waterboarded you about 5 minutes ago, man. You just now catching that? I didn't throw so much shit at him, man. He's having to go back and do recon on that shit.
You're pulling a Trump, like what Trump's doing to the Democrats. You're hitting him so hard from so many angles. He's overwhelmed. He doesn't know when to respond.
You can ask Killer Breeze, man. I've actually been holding back on you, man. I could lit your ass up a long time ago, man.
Turd Ferguson in the house. Woo! And Thunder OU Sooner, of course. Thunder's in the house, and Fred's always going to be in the house. What's up, gentlemen?
Fred said he hadn't tried it all. He said he don't want to be Steve's friend.
That's funny. What about John Christopher? It's good seeing Johnny Johns tonight. What about old John Christopher? Johnny, you still in the house?
You got anything to add to the shit we were talking about earlier? Anything pique your interest?
Which part?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we was talking about just about everything in Oklahoma with the fact that was it DeMarco Murray?
DeMarco.
And then it was what else was it we was talking about?
Well, with regards to DeMarco, he actually might be heading to the NFL because
last time that Oklahoma sort of slid, the Athletic was talking about that Oklahoma has done a real poor job in the portal. They got the John Mateer, but then they lost a bunch of other talent, and I guess they're saying that Oklahoma's sliding.
Well, first of all, that article. I mean, obviously the article was biased. The article had an agenda. It seemed like, at least, because they're making it sound like Oklahoma is the only school that lost a bunch of players to the portal. I mean, everybody knows that they got to get the scholarship numbers down to 105. Isn't that the number, 105?
Yeah.
And so a lot of schools lost a lot of players this year. Now, their point about, 10 of the 15 transfer portals players that they got are from either Group of Five or FCS schools. I mean, it's a fair point. That's where this is one of those instances where Brent Venables better know what he's doing. His staff better be good at evaluating talent. I don't care if those players come from those schools as long as they can contribute. But if we're misevaluating talent, that comes on BV. And so we just won't know whether we really lost in the portal or not.
I saw a link on their channel as well. It's Locked On Sooners with Jay from Unfair Sports and some guy named John Williams or something.
Yeah.
And it was a title that was said Brent Venables and the negatives of him being the defensive coordinator. I didn't click on and watch it, but I'm sure that they, were pointing out maybe that Brent Venables, needs to be more of a CEO type, that kind of deal.
Well, I think the general consensus, I mean, listen, kid, you got to keep in mind, they brought in Zach Alley the year before because they said BV wanted to be more of a CEO head coach. I mean, that's why they brought Zach Alley in. That's what they sold to us. And so, and by the way, with some of his questionable game management, it seemed like it made sense that's probably a good idea. So, the fact that he's going to go back to calling the defense calls those things fairly back into question. I honestly don't know at this point. I think the problem with going after Jim Knowles and not landing Jim Knowles is it kind of limits you now. No matter what you get that isn't Jim Knowles, it's seen as a step down. And I feel like this was one of the ways they were trying to save a little face, was to say, well, we don't have Jim Knowles calling it, but we still have one of the great defensive minds of college football in Brent Venables calling the defense. So, is it? I think it's a fair question. Can he pull off both roles really well?
It's pretty hard sometimes to do it like that.
It is. It really is. And we're going to see whether he can do it or not. I mean, I have suggested that if he's going to call the defense, that's fine. But he needs to have some kind of an assistant coach that's going to be responsible for the minutia of game day, the game management stuff. I see what you're doing, man. What are you doing, man?
You got one of your favorite fan bases in here.
Mizzou does not have a football program. They think they have a football program. They do not have a football program.
But we beat Ohio State when they didn't have 5 players.
Oh, Bo Pribula is going to lead us to the national championship.
Ms. who? Ms. what? I know of a wrestler named Miz.
Ms. is right. Mrs. Zoo.
Yeah. Missouri's all right. They just got a little too full of themselves, man. They beat Ohio State in the irrelevant bowl game where half their team wasn't playing. Them bowls don't mean shit anymore. So
that's right. Well, I mean, I think you see where Mizzou ended at the end of the year. That's where they usually end in football. Purgatory is not even the right word. Just in Midland.
Steve can't talk about football or sports hardly for nothing. He'll talk about it for a little while, man. He just gets off track, man. I think he's got Tourette's.
Steve is just so aggressive. He's just
he's still talking about every time he talks about Fred, he's got the word cock in the sentence. Somewhere in the sentence structure, there's cock to be found. I think Steve might actually have a crush on Fred instead of us.
It's questionable. It's questionable being obsessed with the male anatomy to that degree. It makes me question things.
We got mad because I put up a yoga video. That's what started it all. Called me a pervert, man. I'm like, nobody was talking about sex, man. I was talking about this yoga chick that wants to sponsor my show.
Yeah, leave him alone, man. We like yoga chicks. You want to be talking about cocks? We want yoga chicks.
They was mad because it wasn't the Oklahoma gymnastics team on there. The Oklahoma men's gymnastics. Men's gymnastics. That's what he likes.
He likes the horse.
The
pommel horse.
He is the horse. He gets rode. He gets rode hard.
He's like, not getting Knowles is a blessing in disguise. This will be the first year Oklahoma with a real OC with a cable offense. Now, this is the Steve Lees we can all get behind right here. How about that? Well, I wouldn't say no worries in Norman in 2025. I would say we've got right to be worried, but I feel, I don't know, man. I could be naive and just biased and just rose-colored, crimson-colored glasses, but I feel optimistic. And listen, with DeMarco, he's one of the question marks right now. With the running back room has talent, but the execution of that talent has not been great. Last year was seemed like that DeMarco had a hard time evaluating. It seemed like Xavier came in at the end of the year and ran more like the running backs I'm used to seeing at Oklahoma. Why was he sitting for as long as he did?
Did you happen to see our possible prospective sponsor earlier? Did you see that earlier?
I did not.
I'll show you. This is what set Steve off. Not sure why, but it did. You see that?
Oh, I love her.
Hold. Gently bending one knee, then the other. Just loosening up the hips here.
Oh, yeah, loosen them.
Drop low on the right side.
There we go.
Then low on the left. Super deep Cossack lunge. Lifting the toes on the opposite side.
Oh, yeah. Opposite.
Take a break and flow with me. Watch the full yoga session now.
See? Flow with D Yoga wants to be a sponsor of my show. What's wrong with that?
I think there's everything right with that. Everything right.
I mean, I'm all about equal opportunity as long as it ain't someone that's lying about their gender. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
This killer would say, you know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right. Now you get it. Now you got it. That's right.
Now he's gonna get that word and put all of them together, and he's gonna say that his brother come up with it. Because earlier he was saying his brother come up with the word barn monkeys. I said he called the Auburn barn monkeys. I said, see, man, I rubbed off on you. You sort of look up to me. You go ahead and own that shit. But man, I'm the one that come up with that. And then he said his brother came up with it when he was a flute player for the Auburn or the Oklahoma band. He was like a flute player or some shit.
Yeah. I agree, Steve. I'm not sweating if DeMarco leaves, to be honest with you, man. If DeMarco feels like he needs to go, I think we're going to be just fine and let Arbuckle bring in who he wants to bring in to recruit running backs. I mean, if Arbuckle is the offensive guru that he's been touted to be, then this shouldn't be an issue. It's the running backs coach.
Yeah, he actually said that. Usually Jay at Unfair Sports, Steve said his real name is Jawan Lewis, but I don't know. But anyway, I don't know Jay on first name basis, and I'm not with Jay like you are. But Jay at Unfair Sports actually went on into that video. I didn't show it, but he said that losing DeMarco Murray really wouldn't be that big of a loss because he really ain't put any really good running backs in the NFL. He really hadn't really done that great in developing these running backs.
That's what I'm saying, man. We haven't had. I mean, it's been a while since we've had some good backs. Ramondre Stevenson is probably the last one.
That's right.
And you look at the running back room now, and it's not. I mean, it's got some good backs, but it's not like it's dripping with talent like it has in the past. I mean, we just had, I don't know, like I said, running back room shouldn't be a problem. And so if we lose DeMarco, then, we lose DeMarco. I'm not sweating that at all.
Well, they made a good point. As bad as Oklahoma's offense was, they still were able to win 6 games and go to a bowl game with maybe their entire wide receiver room either being injured or laying down or faking injuries or whatever you was telling me the other day, and they were still able to win 6 games. So That is sort of saying a lot, to be honest with you.
They won. It's a fair point. They won 6 games with what is the worst offense I've seen in at Oklahoma, maybe ever. So, it's a fair point. And again, they're not really that far off, from putting it back together. If they have any kind of a decent offense with a pretty good defense, they should be all right. If I believe everything the Outcast is telling me, I'm crazy. Crazy.
Look, man, he don't believe everything I tell him. He just don't believe anything you tell him. See, it's you. Nobody believes you, man. They caught you in 5 lies tonight, man. You want to go for 6?
You go back and forth between angry and nice. Why you mad, man? Why you mad? Let it go. Fred and Steve, there's no love lost here between these two. Fred and Steve are oil and vinegar. They're going at it.
That's right. Steve Lee says it's Jawan Smith, not Jay. That's what I just said. I didn't know. I know you probably know him on a first name basis. You know him by his Christian name. Maybe y'all went out on a date or two. I don't know.
Christian name.
I don't know, man. Nobody knows what his name is but you, Steve, because you're the investigator around here, right? The Piggly Wiggly security guard.
The only right-wing Duck fan is in the house. What is up, right-wing Duck fan?
Steve, where did you meet Phil? I don't know what that's all about.
Come on, Steve. We were all getting along so well, and now you're going back to super aggressive Steve.
He's not even aggressive, man. He's just he needs to be. He might be medicated. That might be the problem.
Thunder just hit on that point. There might be a.
He said
diagnostic balance.
He said the reason why he can't be on the show is because he's working. I'm like, how are you working and typing all this shit? Then he tried to say he's dictating it to the phone. I'm like, the way you're typing these words, your phone's not going to dictate it like that. Because he would capitalize the letter in the middle, like the word asswipe. He capitalized the A and the W and didn't space them. If you're dictating with your mouth to your phone, it's not going to do that, man. You can't come in here and tell us lies like you do your little minions at Piggly Wiggly, man.
Where is he working? Steve, where are you working? Are you undercover tonight?
Steve Lee's Johnny John says he's working hard. He's been on the live stream for a couple hours and his boss hasn't called him on the phone once.
Well,
that's because he's been assigned a shower hour at the prison. You're watching them drop the soap.
And Fred says he want to be working.
He want to be aggressive. He want to be working. He's always saying want to be. Fred's making fun of him for saying want to be all the time.
I know. He called me a wannabe. He called me a wannabe. What did I do?
That's because that's what a wannabe does. A wannabe calls a wannabe a wannabe.
Know what I mean? Know what I mean, Vern?
Sound like some kind of fucking spastic koala bear or something from Australia. I don't know. A wannabe.
I want to believe that Steve is just a comedian who's playing a bit. That's what I want to believe. That's right, Thunder. He's very entertaining.
It's just like that guy in the multi-chat that Johnny John's talking about, the Clemson guy that said Clemson was going to win a national championship next year and go 15-1. And Fred and him was wanting to kick him out because he won't shut up about Clemson. And I'm like, me and Johnny, we want to keep him around. We want him to be here next year so we get those receipts. And, it's fun to kick him around a little bit.
Was that Kron or Karan or something like that?
No, Kevron's he's a cool Clemson fan.
Okay.
This guy's name's Rich Huffman. He's in that multi-chat on Facebook.
Ah, okay.
The one I added you to, but you're never in there.
Steve, so, yeah. Yeah, we need the Clemson fans in here. That's right. Some of this he says he does type.
Johnny Johns wants is that
Johnny comes out swinging.
is that a McDonald's or Burger King? You get
Johnny
one of
comes out swinging.
you get one of those what's it called? An ultimate burger? It's a veggie burger.
Hey, do y'all have In-N-Out Burger in Tuscaloosa?
We don't.
I'm sure it'll be coming soon.
Steve Lee's got In-N-Out tube sock up sausage. That's what he's got. Tube sock.
In-N-Out is very overrated. That's some
Never
West
been.
Coast
I think
bullshit.
In-N-Out may be owned by the same people that owns Jack's. I don't know.
I don't know. They're a California burger joint. I know that. Watch out, Johnny. You're gonna get Steve. Aggressive Steve is gonna come after you. You better
He's gonna
watch
tell you-
yourself.
He's going to tell you the real name of Jay Smith again.
Yeah.
Joanna man. Like that damn basketball movie.
So I'm curious. What do you think with regard to the transfer portal, man? Has Alabama? What's Alabama done in the transfer portal?
They done decent. I mean, they picked up a few players here and there, but nothing to really call home about. I mean, they're basically they got like the number 1 or number 2 class in high school recruiting. I'm not sure where we stand in the portal right now. I don't really keep up with the portal that much, to be honest with you. Shit sort of pisses me off.
Yeah.
It's just like, who cares? I mean, you're going to get this player for a year and then he's going to leave.
Yeah.
That's why I said, man, I'm just going to start watching NFL because at least they have some rules in place.
Yeah. It's a bummer, man. It's a real bummer. The it's changed it now forever. Even when they get some rules in place, it's still going to be a bummer.
I'll look it up real quick.
Steve is right back at it with the super aggressive Steve. Damn, man. The marinara and the ranch are critical. I would totally agree. If you don't have the marinara and the ranch, you almost might as well not have the food part either because it's not the same. What are you typing away about over there?
I'm bringing that up for you, what you sort of asked for. You might not have really wanted it, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Like Steve, he don't really want me to waterboard his ass, but I did anyway. Can you see that?
Yeah.
2025 transfer portal rankings in 2025. LSU's number 1. Ole Miss is number 2. Texas Tech, Oregon, Miami, Mizzou. Number 6, Florida State's number 7. Auburn's number 8. Kentucky's number 9. You know, if Kentucky's in the top 10 in anything in football, that shit don't matter. Texas A&M, Nebraska, Wisconsin, South Carolina, North Carolina, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Indiana, USC, and Alabama is the top 20.
Yeah.
So you say the transfer portal rankings are like bizarro world almost.
Yeah, it's just like here's the other thing. Here's the other thing too.
You got Texas Tech up there. Texas Tech is never in the top 10 in real recruiting.
Going back to that article that talked about Oklahoma falling and having the portal class issues, one of the things that they pointed out was one of the reasons why we're losing is because we lost our 5-star quarterback. But it's just like, at what point does first of all, after you have a season like Jackson Arnold does, are we really still calling him a 5-star quarterback? And again, you're not acknowledging at all the whole reason why we're losing the dude, because he had a horrible year and got benched. So it's just like, I love how when he's on our team, he's a laughing stock. He's a reason to laugh at Oklahoma. He's no 5-star. He's a bust. But as soon as we lose him to Auburn, all of a sudden he's back to being Jackson Arnold, the 5-star quarterback. So that article was kind of BS. And these transfer portal rankings, what are they really? I mean, they're based off of some mix between their original 5-star in some cases, and then I've seen in some instances where they kind of classify their stars, but they're never too far of a drop off, if a drop off at all. Well, like, what does it matter? I mean, what does it even mean?
It's like going to a yard sale and getting a good pair of used underwear, like I said before.
Yeah.
Who got the best ones? But Ohio State's got it right. What they done was they did go out and cherry pick, but they re-recruited their roster.
Yeah.
And kept the players there that already knew their system.
Yeah. Well, gotta hand it to them, man. Hopefully Oklahoma can get their can have the comeback this year that they desperately want.
I think Steve Lees is mad because he's one of those FBI agents that's going to get fired for letting that damn zit-faced moron shoot Donald Trump in the ear.
Well, you know what they also suspect? Did you hear about the ICE? The Tom Homan, the border czar, and he's been conducting ICE raids. They had a big raid plan for that Venezuelan gang that's taken over apartment complexes in Colorado.
Yeah.
And somehow the raids got leaked to the gang, and they were able to get out. When they raided where they were planning on raiding, they were largely already empty and nobody was really there. So somebody tipped them off, and they are pretty sure at this point that it was tipped off from inside the FBI. So someone, anti-Trumper inside the FBI is leaking, raid information to Venezuelan gangs, man.
This guy that was on Joe Rogan's show said something the other day, man. It was pretty profound. He was like, in the past, all they worried about was Border Patrol and local police and stuff like that, right? But now he said if Trump declares the cartel as a terrorist organization, then they're going to put special forces on it. And he said, I don't think these people in the cartel really know what they're about to get into.
Yeah.
So they're about to be in a world of shit. You're putting these people like Navy SEALs and shit on this stuff.
Oh, dude,
These
Delta
guys are gonna
Force.
hunt them down, and they're going to make it look like they tried to resist or tried to do something to them. They'll kill them. They won't try to take them. They won't try to take them back. They'll just put a puddle pop in their ass.
Yeah, man, you get some of these Delta Force guys involved, and it'll be game on. It'll be game on. Selling car warranties.
What's that?
Whoa. Steve Lee says he's friends with Donald J. Trump. I find that hard to believe, Steve. It doesn't seem possible.
Well, Steve, I sort of doubt that since you didn't get shot in the ear. You're probably going to be one of the ones that's getting fired.
He does. Wait. Steve, you're not really trying to tell us. Are you really friends with Donald J. Trump? Please explain to us where you met President Trump.
He was on that show where Donald Trump fired his ass when Donald Trump was the president.
Ryan.
We're all going to stop it. We're going to stop everything. I did it all. I'm the man. Donald Trump he'll take credit for everything, man. That's one thing I don't like about Trump sometimes, man. He got an ego from hell.
But you know what, dude? He's really funny. I mean,
it's just I. There's no we. I stopped him. I went over there and stopped him. I stopped everybody. I stopped him. I'm going to take over Gaza. I'm going to take over Canada and Mexico. Well, I don't want
It's gonna
Mexico.
be the Riviera. It's
We
gonna
don't want Mexico. All we
gonna be
want from
great.
Mexico is their fruit.
Hey man, you got to be impressed with what that guy's been doing so far, and it's only going to keep going on. Just wait until they dip into Medicare, Medicaid. Just wait till they dip into the Department of Education. Health and Human Services. It's going to be. Just wait, the fraud that they're going to find. Holy smoke, man. I never thought I'd see it. I never thought I'd see the day when a president who actually ran on trying to clean up Washington, D.C. would actually do it and would actually start exposing the nonsense. And we're
It's just
starting.
like Tucker Carlson and a few other people say it's just like it's another branch of government that we just never knew about. And it's not
Right.
our government that we know of. It's another government that's controlling our government.
Right.
Who is Phil Elliott? What are y'all talking about? All right, Wing Duck says, then explain who Phil Elliott is. What are y'all talking about?
I don't know who Phil Elliott is.
Is that Steve Lee's alias? Be a little more original than Steve Lee's. Pretty vanilla name. So is Greg Lee's your brother? The one that was in here the other day, Greg Lee's, or is that one of your aliases?
Will the real Steve Lee's please stand up?
You need to take that E out and put an I in there. Because Steve lies.
Steve, what are you doing, man?
Only right Wing Duck said it's just between me and him. You will know. Uh-oh, something going on. Somebody got the goods on you, Steve. Steve Lee's might be illegal. Might be about to get deported.
I don't know what's going on right now.
Something going on, man.
Something's happening that we're not privy to.
Yeah, man. Y'all can't be doing inside jokes in here. This is our podcast. Y'all gotta let us in on the inside joke, man. It's not cool.
Thunder OU Sooner. How old are you, man? Is Clark Caitlin a man? Never been a woman play like this before because it's a man. Brow ridge, wide shoulders, no boobs, flat collarbone. Oh, wait. Brow ridge, check. Brow ridge, check. Wide shoulders, check. No boobs, check. Flat collarbone, check. Narrow hips, check. Big hands, check. Long neck, check. Eric, you might be on to something.
Caitlin Clark, I was actually becoming a fan of hers, and then she bent the knee to the woke shit here recently.
Yeah, that was.
So now
that
they done screwed it all up again. They done screwed it all up again, man. They had a chance, and now they messed it up again. It's gonna go back in the red. It's
Yeah,
gonna go back in the red. WNBA.
Wouldn't that be funny? I hope. Well, I think she is gonna lose. I think she did lose some fans. You know.
Yeah,
I think she did.
She I guess she's just surrounded by so many, those idiots that played the WNBA that she probably had to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you are right.
Steve Lee says he's releasing the assassination of JFK. Who would thought we'd ever see that? Yeah, they say they're releasing the files on the JFK and RFK and MLK, but are they really? Or are they just telling us that? Are the Republicans finessing us? Because I don't trust either one of them. I'll be honest with you. Republicans are Democrats, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna release these files." And what are they gonna tell us? They ain't told us shit. When they gonna tell us? What are they gonna tell us? Oh,
That's
there was a second shooter. There was two shooters. Well, no shit. Why don't y'all tell us something? Why don't y'all tell us who the second shooter was? Then that'll be releasing the files. Republicans go around tattling on the Democrats, and they don't do shit about it. They let Pelosi stay in office. They let the Clintons stay in their position. Why don't they arrest these people, man, instead of tattling and not doing nothing about it?
Right. I agree.
That's why I'm an independent. I don't trust either one of them.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't. Both parties have major problems. Trump is not really the traditional Republican Party, if you think about it. MAGA should really be its own party. They're quite different than the establishment Republicans. And both parties are corrupt. You can bet your ass on that.
Eric Basher, man, he's a killjoy tonight, man. Now he's telling me Megan Fox is a man.
Megan's a man too?
I think it was telling me that Jennifer Aniston was Jennifer Maniston the other night because she. They said that she's with Barack Obama now. Barack likes Barack's he likes the schlong. From what some people say, he likes the schlong.
Yeah, you know what, man? That's about right. Jennifer Aniston is not the cute little Rachel that we all came and love in 1994 and 95. She's now a true blue, bleeding heart liberal of California, and her being with Barack is just about right. It makes me sick, but I can totally see it. And Barack leaving Big Mama Michelle, Big Mike, I could see him leaving. It's interesting though, because supposedly Barack, plays on the other team, if you know what I'm saying.
Jennifer Maniston, she's never had kids, and if she's a dude, then that would probably explain why she never had no kid. She was with Brad Pitt, but Brad Pitt looks a little like the loafers himself sometimes. Him and Tom Cruise done that interview with the vampire movie, and they look like they're about to hump each other.
Yeah. That was a little too gay for me.
They were a little too close up on each other in that movie.
Yeah. That was uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie.
Probably like them guys that Steve watched in the shower at the damn prison.
Wait, Megan Fox admitted to being a man? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't believe that.
There's no way, man.
If she did, she probably said it playfully or something, man. I just don't see it. I mean, I ain't going to say it's not true because
get the hell out of here. I've actually met Sandra Bullock, and I can promise you this. She is not a man. She is all woman.
Eric Basham said everybody's a man.
I mean, that's where we're leading to. Sandra Bullock is a man? What the hell are you talking about, dude?
This congeniality? Come on, man.
Hey, man, we all love Sandy. You don't like Sandra Bullock?
I love Sandra Bullock.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm saying.
In that movie, The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh yeah.
She's on the bed and you sort of catch. Catch a glimpse of that cat.
Stop.
She jumps up on all fours. You sort of catch a glimpse, man.
Stop. He jacked the board. I can't handle it. Yeah.
Man, if she got a Jack in the Box, I would definitely be very disappointed in life.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no.
Next thing you know, he's gonna tell us that Steve Lees is a man too.
I actually drove Sandra Bullock's Range Rover with her in it while I was parking it. She's awesome, dude. She was so hot, man. God, dog. She's little bitty too, man. She's real tiny.
Who's that? Sandra?
Real short. Yeah, she's real short.
Sandra Bullock?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
She looked tall in that damn Miss Congeniality movie.
She's not.
I was watching that movie the other day that you told me to watch. All the Right Moves.
Yeah.
I was watching that shit, man. He was in the I got to laughing, man. I'm gonna make a post about it tomorrow. He was in there in the living room and this guy was visiting trying to recruit him, right?
Yeah.
He's like, well, I know where I stand. I'm not gonna make an NFL as a 5'10" white quarterback. I'm like, Man, you ain't 5'10", man. You lying. I was like, man, you're like 5'7". And I looked that shit up, man. And sure enough, that son bitch is 5'7". He in there talking about he's 5'10" on that movie, man.
Dude, I don't even think he's 5'7", man, to be honest with you. But regardless, but hey, did you like it? Was a good movie though, right?
Yeah, I was watching it and I fell asleep, man. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I got to the point where they were trashing the coach's house.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it gets better from there. So you didn't see he didn't have the sex scene yet with the girl yet. Because that's
Well, he was trying to hit it in the car and she made him stop.
right. Well, no. He goes all the way. and you get to see a little booby, man. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a great movie, dude. It's a great 80s movie, man. All the right moves with Tom Cruise and
Craig Nelson, man, he was a dick.
I already forgot her name. What's her name, man?
Leah Thompson.
Leah Thompson. Thank you. Young Leah Thompson. Oh, so nice.
Craig Nelson was a dickhead, man.
Craig T. Nelson was a dick.
It wasn't very good acting, some of it, but it was some nostalgia going on there for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Whenever I saw that movie when I was in, I think I was in 7th grade, and
I like to see how old they were when they was actually doing the movie and playing the parts. They was playing the parts of teenagers,
yeah,
and they were actually 21 and 22 years old. Leah Thompson was 22 at the time, and he was 21. Tom Cruise was 21.
yeah. It's a great movie.
You saw it at the movies, you said?
No, I saw it on. Like it was either on. I think it was. We rented the movie at the video place, and I saw it on VHS.
What was the first in a gallery? I would like to know this too from the gallery. Who was y'all's? Can y'all remember the first movie you ever went to? Like
I'm pretty sure the first movie that I remember going to. I don't know which one is earlier. I'd have to look it up, but it's going to be somewhere around Octopussy, James Bond. I saw that, but I remember seeing. When did Empire Strikes Back come out? See, I just
late 70s.
Remember
late 70s. The first one I remember going to is back when we had this one theater uptown. It was just like a 2-theater theater. They only put 2 movies on, so you had much to choose from.
Yeah,
Tuscaloosa was real small. It looked like Starksville.
Yeah.
Sorry if I insulted Mississippi State fans, but it was as small as Starksville back then. And the first movie I ever went to was War Games with Matthew Broderick.
What year was that?
Remember that game? That movie?
Oh, hell yeah. That's when he's playing tic-tac-toe, right? With the
he's playing with that computer, and they start setting off nuclear bombs and shit.
Yeah. 1980. So that's 1983. Octopussy. Octopussy is 1983 as well.
You just
I remember going to see that with my dad.
You just like saying the name.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. Well, oh yeah, and I think I was in 4th grade, maybe, or 3rd or 4th grade, and yeah, I felt like I was going to see a dirty movie. That my dad taking me to that movie was like I wasn't supposed to see it. It was
What's
awful.
the worst movie you ever paid to see at the movie theater?
That's it.
Oh, really?
I mean, my dad paid for it, but I mean, that's the one I remember going to. Well,
The worst one I remember seeing was No Holds Barred with Hulk Hogan. It's in the 1980s, man. It had that big black guy from Friday.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
It had a big black guy from Friday. He was called Zeus.
Yeah, I know the movie.
old Hulk, man. They can talk about Stone Cold and Rock all they want, man, but Hulk Hogan put wrestling on the map. He made him go.
Hogan. I mean, in terms of his career, he's probably the most important figure of all time.
He wasn't a technical wrestler, but as far as charisma and his character and stuff, he put him on the map. As far as mainstream, he mainstreamed it.
Dude, remember seeing him for the first time in Rocky III as Thunder Lips?
Yep.
Like he looked so crazy, big, and intimidating.
Here's
And
another thing I want to call people out about with Hogan. They talking about the LA people booed him at Royal Rumble when he come out there. And they're saying that they booed Hulk Hogan because, in the past he used the N-word. But that happened a long time ago. It was like 3 or 4 years ago. And he's come out to these events and people cheered him. I said the reason they booed Hulk Hogan at Royal Rumble about a month ago in LA was because he was at the Donald Trump rally. That's why they booed him.
Yeah. That's absolutely right.
You said he was so big in that movie?
Oh, dude, he was. I just remember thinking how intimidating, he was, and how much bigger he was than Rocky. You know what I mean? And then seeing him as Hulk Hogan, which was kind of confusing to me at first because I really liked the whole Thunder Lips. I remember in the beginning, I felt like Thunder Lips was better than Hulk Hogan. But
he got in trouble for doing that movie. They fired him. They ended up rehiring him, but they did fire him for that.
Yeah, but he was. You just can't underestimate how important he was as in terms of the history of pro wrestling.
That's right.
The only other guy that I think ever came close to Hogan was Flair, Ric Flair. But Ric Flair, because he was too loyal to his regional, to Four Horsemen and his guys, he did not go over to he could have gone over to the WWF around the same time Hogan did, but he didn't want to leave his guys, and they didn't want to take everyone. They just wanted to take him. I'm pretty sure that's what was going on. So I think ultimately that hurt him a little bit. But in terms of wrestlers back in the day that really where wrestling was built on, I would say it's Hogan and Flair.
That's right. And Hogan, like I said, he wasn't as good a wrestler as Flair, but
no,
more over mainstream than Flair ever was.
Yeah.
Flair was just wrestling. He never was mainstream into acting or another Hollywood shit or any stuff like that. Says what?
And when when Flair was getting good, the other thing that was unique about Flair is that he didn't mind losing.
Right.
He lost a lot when a lot of guys that got to his level would have started demanding not to lose as much. You know what I mean?
Like he's a 16-time champion.
Yeah. So he's a lot of those guys wouldn't be willing to do the kind of things he was willing to do. He was pretty unique, man.
People make a big deal out of that, but really, I mean, it's just you lost the title more than anybody else.
Yeah. But that's always orchestrated. So I mean, he I think he was. I think I see what he was trying to do because it does make it more interesting. Does get a little boring if the guy on top never loses.
Eric Basham says he's just pointing how easily people are fooled. For your eyes only had a man in a role as a Bond girl named Tula.
Logan Lee, Dr. Death. Sorry, what did you just? I'm sorry. I was reading Logan's comments. He said Dr. Death was the greatest wrestler of all time. Dr. Death, who went to what school? What school did Dr. Death go to?
The Cinnamon. He is Cinnamon.
That's right.
I'm just pointing out how easily people are fooled, Eric Basham says. I guess he's still talking about Sandra Bullock and all the female movie stars now have a penis. For your eyes only had a man in the role as a Bond girl named Tula. Caroline Cossey. Okay. So everybody's male now, right?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know if I'm. I don't think I'm going down. I don't know that I'm a. That might be a bridge too far. That might be a bridge too far. I think I understand what he's saying.
I know what he's saying. I'm just aggravating him. But I'm just, how do you know this? You tell us, how do we know they're women? How do you know they're men? Have they exposed their penis to you? I mean, has Jennifer Aniston showed you she has a penis? Has Sandra Bullock showed you her penis? I'm just
Sandra
saying.
Bullock does not have a penis.
Well, Eric Basham says she does.
Lay off of Sandy, man. I'm not going to say it again.
Now they're ganging up on poor old Fred. Said Fred is okay dating a fantasy, asking as he don't see it.
Under OU Sooner says the greatest college wrestler of all time is Danny Haas.
The greatest wrestling movie of all time is Vision Quest.
Vision Quest?
Yeah, remember that?
I don't remember that one right now.
His name, the guy that started, his name was Matthew something. Can't remember his last name now. Look it up on your phone. You'll probably remember when you see it. Madonna was actually in that movie. She was just a small part as a singer on the stage, and she done the soundtrack to that movie. It's actually a decent soundtrack for being Madonna.
Matthew Modine.
That's it, Matthew Modine.
Yeah, Madonna, sure enough. Oh shit, Daphne Zuniga was in it. Wow.
That's one you need to watch right there.
Vision Quest. I'll check it out.
Turd Ferguson, you. Matthew Modine. Matthew Modine was the old guy in Stranger Things. Have you seen that series, Stranger Things?
Man, I started watching that show. I was watching the first season.
It got a little weird, didn't it?
It was a little weird, and I don't know why, but I just I stopped watching it. So I maybe I need to go take another run at it because I love Winona Ryder, man.
Yeah, she was actually pretty hot in that show. She actually looked like she ages better.
Dude, Winona, I mean, go find almost any movie Winona's in. She looks hot every time. I mean, she is special. That's an American treasure.
Well, Johnny Depp, he messed that up, right?
That's right.
Johnny Depp's a weirdo. Everybody's like, man, he's such a great actor. No, he's not. He's a weirdo. Something wrong with him. I know that Amber girl was doing a lot of shit to him, but man, he was probably doing some weird shit to her too.
He's strange.
You're in the Butt Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. He's definitely strange.
I've never watched any of those. I tried watching it one time. Oh man, this shit sucks. I just quit watching it, man.
Hell yeah. Let's see here.
I'm about running out of things to smack about.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I got
You know your boy Sooner Surge are live right now, don't you?
oh yeah, that's true. They start at 9:30.
We need to get off here and go see if Jason's in here. By the way, Steve Lies, is your boy Jason? Since you know everybody's real name, is that Jason's real name? Is his real name Jason, or is it Joannison? You need to do some recon on Jason Watkins. If you take Jason Watkins out for us, we'll be nice to you. We won't waterboard you anymore.
Well,
Give us some good shit on Jason Watkins. Joannison.
I would take that. I would take
Joannison Watkins from
We'd
Texas
be very
Tech.
thankful for some of that.
The Texas Tech man.
Yeah, that's a wannabe right there. He's definitely a wannabe.
Texas
wannabe
never won a title in
marshmallow.
wrestling because they keep getting DQ'd for bringing their purses on the mat. Logan, he been here nailing Texas, man. You don't like Texas?
Nobody likes Texas, man.
Did you know Texas got you on the SEC, man?
Nobody.
Without Texas, Oklahoma don't get in the SEC.
Yeah, nobody likes him. He's terrible. He is
Right, brother. I guess I'm gonna get off here.
All right, JPC. I appreciate it, man. I'll be in touch.
All right, I might head
Everybody
over,
in the chat, y'all have a good night.
I might go over to the Surge for a little while and stir up some shit.
All right, I'll see you in there
All right, later.
later.
And that was the Killer Breeze, the Oklahoma Roughneck. Can you say that you was an Oklahoma Roughneck, Steve Lees? All right. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.